shot from Goldsworthy.
Oh, what a comeback that is! Got him.
And taken. They are very much in this, the Foxes. They are fighting hard.
Brilliant shot from Goldsworthy.
Oh, what a comeback that is! Got him.
And taken. They are very much in this, the Foxes. They are fighting hard.
shot from Goldsworthy.
Oh, what a comeback that is. Got him.
And taken. They are very much in this, the Foxes. They are fighting hard.
Brilliant shot from Goldsworthy.
Oh, what a comeback that is. Got him.
And taken. They are very much in this, the Foxes. They are fighting hard.
And I thought he was just a little bit slow going down to his right. Rishi Patel gets away with it, now needs to make the most of that.
Richard, I'm going to do something. I'm going to get close to you. Hold on, your mic's just a little bit too far away from your face. There you go. Here is Gleeson. Third ball of the over, past the umpire. He bowls, flashed at, outside off stump, and it goes to backward points. So a single will be taken. 5-4, no loss. Leicestershire in green. They've got a white. They've got a red pattern on their shirt and their name in the shape of a fox. Birmingham Bears look like a Wetherspoons carpet, really. It's a sort of patterned blue and white and
sticky with patches of sick on.
Yeah, beer stains on it. There's a very patterned sort of lurid blue colour with navy blue trousers.
Yeah, it's odd, but doesn't really do anything for you, does it?
It doesn't. It's not a flattering one.
No.
The two fielders out in the power play. It's a slightly dry outfield. It's yellow mostly as Gleeson runs into the left-handed Pottinger, and he edges and gets 4. Slightly more controlled that one. It was mostly along the floor, wider first slip. So Gleeson getting 2 genuine edges in the first over and conceding 8 runs from them.
Yes, he made it very clear what he thought about that, Richard Gleeson. I suspect he communicated that to Sol Budinger, who ignored him and went to speak to Rishi Patel. But as you say, he kept it down, Budinger. It was at the edge, but he managed just to stay on top of the bounce, and it was much wider of slip. But are they going to put 2 slips in?
Interesting.
3 slips, 4 slips.
3 players have all converged on going to slip there. So, and now there's not going to be no slip at all.
1. So they've gone back to exactly what they were going to do in the first, what they were doing beforehand.
But that first slip has gone to second slip, so there's now a extra cover and mid-off as Gleeson runs in again. Budinger has to go back. That's a very good delivery. I think he's just getting a bit of in-swing to the left-handed Budinger from right arm over the wicket. How would you describe that fielding position there, Richard? He's sort of behind slip.
It's almost fly slip, isn't it?
Fly slip. Fly fourth slip? Fly gully?
They want to keep him. They obviously have to keep him on the edge of the circle. So I suspected he would be a genuine fly slip otherwise. But I think he is. I think that's fly slip. But he's got a wide third man, and the only 2 men out, wide third and deep backward square. So
Gleeson, brown-haired, broad-shouldered. He's one of those bowlers that has to start his run-up on the turn, and he charges in. He really does charge into the waiting Budinger, who moves across his stumps and flicks it into the leg side. They're looking for 2. They won't get it though, because the fielder rushing in from deep backward square leg is quick to it, and that is the end of the over. Well, a brilliant over from Gleeson, forcing false shots and 2 edges, but Leicestershire won't be too disappointed with 10 for no loss at the end of the first over at Grace Road in this T20 match.
And they got away with it to a certain extent there, the Foxes. Grateful for any bit of luck they can get at the moment. Gleeson just low 5s. The man at slip probably apologised, because he should, for me, have certainly got to that first opportunity off Rishi Patel. So Budinger will now be on strike. George Garton is going to open the bowling for the Bears from the Bennett end, left arm, with the slip and the sort of fly slip. Bowls, full toss, will clip down to finest, the fine legs for 4 by Budinger. Not a great ball from Garton.
We haven't had a shot forward of square yet, have we? Scoring shot?
No, that wasn't. There was no edge there. Then there was
that was the right
nice
shot.
Flick, wasn't it, by Budinger? I like these drums.
Yeah, they had good. They had good atmosphere. They're right down below us, aren't they? The Bhangra drummers.
14 then, without loss of the first 7 legitimate deliveries. Garton bowls, Budinger slams him back straight on. 1 bounce for on driven. Very, very straight, almost over the head of umpire Tom Lungley, who's standing at the Bennett end. Hassan Adnan standing at the pavilion end. But already the pitch looks pretty good.
Yeah. latched onto that pretty quickly. I was expecting a bit of move, but there's a green tinge to the pitch, but we haven't seen much of that. It seems to be coming on very nicely indeed. And Budinger, if he's in the mood, we saw him score 50 off 15 earlier on this season here. If he's in the mood, he'll very dangerous.
13 off 5 as Garton is in bowls, doing very full, dug out by Budinger. Clever little shot, really. Slightly angled bat, squeezed it out towards point and takes the single. Well played. He moves on to 14 off just those 6 deliveries faced. Patel 5 off 3. Good start. You say that after 9 deliveries, but you can. 19 without loss. Patel in those striking sort of orangey pink cricket shoes rather than boots, I suspect. Garton stays over the wicket to the right-hander. Bowls. Patel drives him in the air, goes vertical, not too vertical, lifts it over the infield. Nobody out there on the extra cover boundary, and that was rather in the slot.
It was.
Garton, and Patel took full advantage.
He's bowled a few in the slot, hasn't he? You can see the batsmen sort of getting ready to be aggressive already. They're lining Garton up. He's actually got a very skiddy, slingy action, which seems to sort of set them up nicely. Maybe you can hear the wind pick up on our microphones there.
In he goes, and Patel carves him away down to third man for another boundary. So Garton is going all around the ground at the moment. 27 without loss. We are going to have to keep that back door closed. Again, width for Patel to tuck into, and tuck into it he did. He's moved on to 13 off 6, but into 14 off 6. And it's a great start.
That's a terrible ball. There's been a few horrible ones in this over. Full tosses, that one right outside the off stump, wide. And it meant really that, particularly with this field, that Patel could just flash at it, knowing he would likely get away with it.
He's only picked up a couple of wickets so far this season, Garton, who bowls. Patel slams him back very straight. 1 bounce, 2 bounces for another 4. So all those deliveries were there to be hit, essentially, and on a good pitch with the field in, Patel and Budinger are too good to miss out, and they didn't miss out. 31 without loss, 21 off that Garton over.
Cracking over. But as you say, Richard, I think that says more about the bowling, sadly, than it does about the batting.
Well, you've got to be good enough to take advantage, but yeah, it wasn't great, was it? And Patel and Budinger are good enough.
He just bowled the perfect length with a lot of deliveries. When he hit the pitch, he was bowling the perfect length for batsmen to get their front leg out of the way and basically slam it just short of a half volley length. 2 or 3 of the deliveries in that over, and then 2 of the deliveries were full tosses. One on just outside leg stump, one of them way outside off stump, meaning you could flail at it and you're going to get away with it. So there's a change of bowling. Hassan Ali is going to bowl, the Pakistan international. He's moving away from us now, and that's hit big by Budinger. It's going to be 6 down to cow corner, and into the crowd it goes. He latched onto that incredibly quickly, Budinger, and heaved it over towards the leg side. 6 runs, and this is a remarkable start from Leicestershire. The pitch looks great, but so for Sol Budinger and Rishi Patel.
Beautiful pickup, but again, it was length, wasn't it? And nobody out.
And this is a problem in the power play. If you're able to get your eye in quickly, if you're offered a few freebies, which the Leicestershire batters have been, then it can be carnage. Just can't get too far ahead of themselves. The run rate at the moment is 17.1. Here comes Hassan Ali. Right arm round the wickets. The left-handed Budinger chips this up in the air. It's going to land just safe on the leg side. The 2 fielders out at deep mid-wicket and deep backward square leg, so he just sort of chipped it. It was almost like a pitching wedge shot out the bunker, the way he played it. And it landed short just on the pitches on the leg side. So he gets a single, 38 for no loss.
He did that in the last over, a boundary, and then followed it with a single, so he fancies this. So it's sensible batting.
32 on his back, Hassan Ali. Up to the wicket now. Bowls. Patel goes big but high, and he's going to be caught, I think, at long off. Moeen Ali is chasing, and he's underneath. It's a brilliant catch. It's a brilliant catch from Ali, who watched that come over his shoulder. There's the international class of Moeen Ali, and Leicestershire lose their first wicket. It's been a rollicking old start, but they've got the breakthrough. Patel's eyes lighting up, and that went higher than it did far, and the first wicket falls. Patel goes for a enterprising, swashbuckling 17, but it's 38 for 1.
Little bit, he got quite a lot of it, didn't he, really? And it was a super catch. He didn't really look like dropping it, despite having to sort of run backwards and catch it as it almost dropped over his shoulder, but just the very slightest bobble of the ball in his hands. He was right below us, so we had a pretty good view of it, but a sense of security about the way he took that was quite disconcerting. Nice catch.
Shah Masood, the new man in. Stanford schoolboy, Pakistan former Test captain. I'm interested to see how he plays this, Richard, because normally he's been a very sort of he's played very properly
against his Pakistan international teammate.
Of course. Hassan Ali, he's got a ponytail, hasn't he?
It's an odd hairstyle. It's unlike. He looks very different, doesn't he?
It's normally sort of short back and sides type. He's now waving at fine leg to move finer, and he does so, and now he charges in, right arm over the wicket to the left-handed Masood, who drives up in the end court. That one's stuck in the pitch, and it's 2 and 2, and Hassan Ali goes charging down, celebrating massively. You would imagine that's because he's just dismissed his international teammate, and Leicestershire suddenly, from an incredible start, find themselves in a little bit of trouble. Caught an extra cover, that one sticking in the pitch, Masood just sort of prodding at it and driving it straight into the grateful hands of the fielder. 38 for 2.
Yeah, it wasn't a great shot. You're right, it wasn't quite there to drive, and he went at it a bit heavy hands. He likes to pick up a couple of singles early, and perhaps if he'd done one thing or the other, if he'd actually let it go or thrown his hands at it, he might have gotten away with it, but he'd obviously have gotten away with it if he'd let it go, but it just fell in between the two stools there. Shah Masood, and disappointment for the Foxes.
Well, when the first ball of this over went for 6, I didn't see it going this way, but he's got 2 for 7 now off 4 balls, Hassan Ali.
And a hat-trick. Sam Hain, the catcher.
54 T20 eyes to his name, Hassan Ali. 32 on his back. Sort of looks like it's a slightly messy ponytail that he's got. He's now rearranging the field. Third man is going back. Fine leg is coming up. The field is just sort of running all over the place. It looks like a Benny Hill film out there.
He can't seem to make his mind up.
Hassan Ali runs in. Hat-trick ball, he's facing Rahan Ahmed, and Ahmed just leaves the ball down the leg side. It'll be a wide. You could technically argue that he could still get a hat-trick. Not really. Off legitimate deliveries.
A hat-trick of sorts, I suppose.
He's still waving his Hassan Ali. Now he's changed the field again. Third man's coming up. Backward point is going back. And we've now got a cover point, an extra cover. Here comes Ali, and Ahmed goes back and prods this into the gap at backward point, and we'll get a single. It's got a little bit finer than that, actually, so he's off the mark, is Rahan Ahmed. 52 in his last T20 innings with a big Nottinghamshire here. Faced his brother, of course, Farhan. It was a match-winning innings from the England international. It's a healthy crowd. A few latecomers today, Richard. It looked
a good crowd.
I was a bit worried at 6:15 that it was going to be a quiet night, but actually it's filled up nicely. You can hear the nice hum of the supporters around Grace Road. As Ali's still bowling right arm over the wicket to the left-handed Budinger, and he comes. He bowls a slower delivery. Budinger defends, prods it out into the offside, and a very eventful over. The first ball from Budinger smacked for 6. 2 wickets then to Ali, and Leicestershire's charge in this power play halted somewhat. 40 for 2 is the score after 3 overs, so that run rate's still at 13 and over. Budinger 21, Rahan Ahmed is 1 not out.
Yeah, 2 wickets and an over in the power play is big, because Leicestershire now, you can see Ahmed and Budinger talking about what their approach is going to be. They all know the stat, you know, about losing 3 wickets in the power play and how much less likely it makes you to win the game. So they know that they don't want to lose another over the next 3 overs, but they have been given such a good start in terms of runs that they've got a little bit of leeway. They don't have to try and hit every ball to the boundary. Richard Gleeson, hoping for better luck than he got in his first over, is going to have a go from the Bennett end. He too pointing around. He's got the marker. It's not the marker, it's one of the markers that's used to show the umpires where and the fielders where the circle is, but he's using it as a bowling marker. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue. Longish run for the Lancastrian. Comes charging in and bowls to Rahan. Full, driven in the air, on the bounce, down into the ground, and then in the air. Nicely fielded by Gleeson in his follow through. Gets a low 5 from a teammate as he walks back. Alex Davies, another ex-Lancashire player behind the stumps. Famously feisty, Davies. Let me calm down a bit. Something of a veteran now. But is determined to win as ever. 2 men out. Deep backward square and third man. Gleeson in to Rahan, who pushes it out towards mid-off where Moeen forms the long barrier. Fairly normal piece of cricket for the power play of a T20.
I agree.
The Uptonsteel stand is close to being not full as in packed, but pretty good.
It's that group of
good
particularly
attendance.
boisterous ones, isn't there,
It
who
is.
are closest to us. We've had a couple of, I'm not saying I condone it, but we've had some flares, haven't we? We've had plenty of chanting.
Gleeson. Quite small strides before he gets into his run and bowls slightly short. Ahmed backs away and he cuts nicely down to third man. Just gave himself a little bit of room, used the pace of Gleeson, wristy little cut, and that was clever cricket, good cricket from Rahan. Ahmed 44 for 2, first scoring shot off the Gleeson over. Ahmed on 5 from 4.
That was a lovely shot. Saw the gap.
Third man is he's wide, but he's not that wide. It was cleverly played, but the outfield, as you would expect, is rock hard and lightning fast. Gleeson is in, drops a touch short. Ahmed on the back foot again. That characteristically wristy little turn of the bat, but essentially playing it back down into the ground, back towards Richard Gleeson, who will feel he owes Warwickshire a little bit. Just signed a white ball contract with the Bears and has been injured. Got himself was unlucky to be injured when he went to the IPL. So this is his first T20 appearance of the season. 4 wins, 4 defeats for the Bears. They need a good second tranche. In goes Gleeson. Bowls short, helped beautifully straight over the wicket keeper down to the long stop boundary. 4-4. Beautifully played again by Ahmed. Each time you see him, still manages to surprise. You know how much ability he has, but and how unorthodox he can be, but he still manages to surprise. He is an astonishingly talented young cricketer, this boy.
I think that was a superb shot, wasn't it? He had to adapt. I think he was moving away from his stumps to try and flash it a little bit squarer, but Gleeson followed him well, and it was a lovely little cut ramp flick, gorgeous shot. So clever, and the adaptation so quickly was extraordinary.
So they got 8 off the over already. 1 ball to go. Gleeson in. Ahmed flashes and misses. That wasn't so pretty or clever. It was outside off stump, bounced a little bit, may even have moved away a touch. Ahmed opened his shoulders and launched himself at it, and fortunate not to edge through to Davies. But on the whole, I would say that that's a win in that over for the Foxes. 8 from it and no wickets lost. 48 for 2 off 4. Ahmed 9. Budinger 21.
Richard mentioned Bears. I keep calling them Birmingham Bears. They're just the Bears. We've mentioned Bears record. Played 8, won 4, lost 4. Leicestershire's played 8, won 5, lost 3. I'm just looking at some of the other scores today in the North Group. Between the top 2, Northants against Lancashire. Northants 33 for 2. Down at Wantage Road. Durham 55 for no loss against Notts. Both of those teams. Durham in 3rd at the moment, Notts in 6th. And 2 of the bottom teams in this division, Yorkshire and Worcestershire. Yorkshire 42 for 2. This though, 4th against 5th, as Mousley is going to bowl. As flash, what a shot! Clubbed by Budinger. So much bottom hand in that. Mousley bowling right arm round the wicket into the left-handed Budinger, and it tucked him up for room, and he used so much bottom hand to cut it forward a square in the wicket. That's an extraordinary shot. 25 he moves on to, 52 for 2.
Tends to try and push it through a bit, Dan Mousley, and did so usually pretty successfully.
And he comes again, bowl spin, that's down the leg side. He obviously didn't get anything on that because the umpire signalled a wide before it had even before the action has come to a close. It was fielded by short fine leg, so there's 2 off that delivery. Missed out a bit there, didn't he? Yeah.
It was there to be paddled away. It was the right shot, he just missed it.
So Ahmed facing, Mousley's still going to come round the wicket, and Ahmed backs away and just pushes his into the leg side for a single. He's 10 off 7, Budinger 25 off 10. The run rate's still at 13 and over. Those first 2 overs, particularly the one from Garton, has really set the tone and given them a little bit of freedom. So blue sky has re-emerged as Mousley bowls. Oh, and he's going to get 4. Paddle sweep from Budinger, and it beats short fine leg. The despairing dive over the top of the ball, and that tube has been used for the right time, on the right purpose this time.
He has got a long way to go down, Richard Gleeson, and he raises a hand in apology to Dan Mousley, who kicked at the turf in annoyance, really, because he should have stopped it. He should have got a hand to it.
It's a little paddle sweep, but it wasn't travelling particularly quickly, and Gleeson should have stopped it. So 4 more to Budinger, 29. Mousley, fair hair, tall, 80 on his back, moves away from us and bowls. Big hit from Budinger. It's hit high and handsome for 6. Square of the wicket, and he latched onto that quickly. It was in the slot. There was a tiny bit worried for a second. There is a fielder out at deep mid wicket, but it was square of him. And 6 to Budinger, who is in the mood tonight, and Leicester should continue to push on in the power play and in the start of their innings. 65 for 2, 4.4 overs. Mousley, what's his response going to be? Big hit again, club for 4. That's an excellent shot. So much bottom hand again, along the floor this time, through extra cover, and that raced away. Extraordinary the way he adapts and plays those shots. As I say, like his feet and hands aren't often in the sort of the right position, but he adapts so quickly and jabs it so firmly. It races away for 4.
He has got a chance here, 39 off 13.
Yeah.
And the 50 off 17. He shares the record for the fastest 50.
Here's Mousley. Budinger defends, so he's not going to get it. He's going to equal it. What? Yeah, 2 6s.
2 6s.
And he would have got it. That's the
he
end.
still can. 2 6s would do it.
He got 50 off 15 against
17.
Was it 17?
Yeah, that shares the record.
Well, he can still do it then. Yeah. 39 off 14 he is at the end of the 5th over. We've got 1 more of the power play to go, and Leicestershire 69 for 2. Rahan Ahmed will have the strike. He's 10 not out. T20 action on BBC Radio Leicester. Adam Whitty and Richard Ray with you as the Bears face the Foxes.
2 overs in that part of the first 5 have gone for 21, the second and now the 5th, so only that over from Hassan Ali, which went for 9, and 2 wickets were taken, has stymied their progress. Hassan is in and he's bowled him. He's bowled Rahan Ahmed, middle stump. Ahmed stepped across, tried to ramp it down over Alex Davies, and unfortunately he missed it, and the middle stump has been surgically extracted from the ground, and that is a real blow actually, because he didn't need to play it 69 for 2 or 5. Just try and get 8-10 off the over, and they'd have had a brilliant power play, but they have now lost 3 wickets in the power play, and we know what that might mean.
Yes, the stat is it's about 60%, isn't it, of games. If you lose 3 wickets in the power play, you lose 60% of the time. So I'm not quite sure why he played that shot, Ahmed. Extraordinary celebration from Hassan Ali, who was going wild out there.
Yes. Well, he's got 3 for 9 from 1.1 overs. He's talking about breaking records, remember? Colin Ackerman on this ground, 7 wickets. Well, Hassan Ali might fancy matching that.
His best 6 for 23. Certainly have that in his sights at this point.
That's not bad in T20.
It's not bad in T20.
Jeepers. Maybe it's the long hair. In he comes and bowls to Louis Kimber, who is sensible, the captain. He just defends that one off stump back down the pitch towards Pakistan international. 69 for 3 remains the score.
He looks fired up, doesn't he, Hassan Ali? Crikey.
He's that sort of player, isn't he, really? He likes to give everything all the time and show that he's giving everything, which is fair enough. Men out, backward square, and third man, much finer. In goes Hassan, bowls. Kimber works it out towards long on and then takes the single. He sees that mid-wicket isn't going to be able to run across and get there, and that mid-on was on the edge of the circle. Slight chance, but not really. He got the afterburners on and would have made his ground comfortably had the throw come in and hit anyway. So 70 for 3 balls to go in the power play. Mustn't lose another wicket, but Budinger will be conscious that he's got 3 balls with the field in. Now everybody's in on the offside. They've got their 2 outriders out on the leg side now, mid-wicket and backward square. Round the wicket comes Hassan, backs away Budinger, he follows him. Hassan, if he hits, he's gone. He didn't hit, and he's kicking his heels in disbelief. It was turned by Budinger on the back foot to mid-wicket. They took the single, whether it was Budinger's call or Kimber that set them off, but Budinger had given up well before the ball flashed past the stumps. It was seized on by Hassan running onto it. He had time to steady himself, and he sort of did, and had the throw hit. Budinger was gone for all money. He survives 40 off 15, 71 for 3. 2 balls to go in the over. Hassan back over the wicket to the right-handed Kimber. Bowls, and Kimber tries to launch him. That's going to be close to...
He's out, he's giving him LBW. But he's such a celeb appeal.
I did not see him raise the finger there. I don't know whether that was because Budinger was out of the way. It looked very straight, didn't it? And I was waiting for some sort of signal as to why it was out, but he didn't actually. He raised his finger behind Budinger in some way. Either way, that's 4 for Ali, 4 for the Bears. What a power play. 71 for 4 off 5.5.
12.2 runs and over, but 4 wickets gone. It was extraordinary, and I know why you were slightly confused, Richie, because you're right, it was a delayed finger from the umpire, and Ali celebrated like he'd bowled him, but he didn't technically appeal. He just celebrated. People used to take the mick out of Stuart Broad for his celeb appealing, essentially running off, celebrating without the finger going up.
Wasn't the greatest shot the skipper's played.
It's a straight delivery. He's just trying to hoik it across the leg side. It's a horrible shot, really.
Wanted to sort of push straight back, wasn't it, really, if we're out to mid-on again, but they went for it. And how do they play it from here? Well, Ben Cox, I think, will probably keep this Hassan Ali, or try to keep this Hassan Ali delivery out. 1.5 overs, 11 runs, 4 wickets for Ali, who comes scampering down the hill from the Bennett end and bowls to Ben Cox straight. Cox does what arguably Louis Kimber should have done, and just with a nice high left elbow pushes the straight ball back down the pitch on the onside end of a quite extraordinary power play. 71 is a lovely figure from the Foxes' point of view. Run rate 11.8. Not so lovely is the fact that they've lost 4 wickets in reaching that. And what will be a good score from here? Well, they're going to have to push it around a little bit. But it's the sort of pitch I suspect that they'll want a minimum of 180. Minimum.
But and they're well on course for it, but the problem is they keep losing wickets at an almighty rate. They actually probably need to play relatively sensibly for the next 4 or 5 overs to get themselves through it. 71 for 4, Budinger 40 not out. I'm fascinated to see how he goes about this, because he's played so aggressively at the start, but he's lost so many partners. And it's going to be Briggs to bowl, left arm over the wicket to the left-handed Budinger. Sort of turns his arm over, does Briggs. 6 wickets in his last 2 games against Leicestershire.
Now he's got through the power play, Budinger. He's on 41 off 16. This is a match where he's got to go on and make 80, 90, 100. responsibilities on him now.
And it's been Leicestershire's. But if there has been a problem in their T20 campaign, it's been that a few players have got to 50. I think Ahmed's will be the highest score in the whole T20 so far at 52. We've had a couple of 51s. Here's Briggs, left arm coming round the wicket. It's tossed up and driven by Cox. Doesn't fall for the tempter. And Briggs who turns round, left arm spin. This one is flashed much more calmly and controlled and effectively. It bobbles in front of the fielder, who is George Garton, and they come back for two very effectively. Good running. There's a lovely shot from Cox as well. Lovely arc of the blade as he played that cover drive just wide of extra cover. He's in quite tightly to the pitch. Here comes Briggs and he pulls out, does Cox. There's some movement down below us, and that was as late as I've ever seen someone pull out.
Been interesting what he'd have done if he'd have bowled him, but the umpire was signalling dead ball.
For want of a better phrase. In comes it's a sweep from Cox, who misses it, and that has missed the off stump by a lick of paint.
Absolutely did. Astonishing.
Here comes Briggs again. 2 balls left in the over. Back goes Cox and clips him into the leg side square of the wicket. He'll go to single. Richard shaking his head because that was the same time. It wasn't a great shot. Actually, I think this has been a brilliant over by Briggs. He's bowled a lot of tempters. And
he's one of the best bowlers in T20, Briggs. No question about it.
And he comes in now, bowls, drags this one down, it's pulled around the corner. It's a very good shot for one for Budinger out towards deep square leg. Now you've got a choice of listening now on BBC Radio Leicester. If you want to stick with us at the cricket, then you can listen to us on DAB, the BBC Sport website, and at BBC Sounds on your smart speaker. Or if you want to listen to Letitia George take you through the rest of your Friday night, bringing you the best stories from the African Caribbean community in your area, then FM is the place to go. But as it stands, we are here at Grace Road with Leicestershire 76 for 4 in the T20 match against the Bears. We have had 7 overs with the run rate at 11 runs and over. We've got a change of bowling as well as Moeen Ali comes to the crease. So from all of us here at Grace Road, for listeners on FM, goodbye.
Moeen is going to go around the wicket to the left-handed Sol Budinger. Bowles, tosses it up, it's on leg stump, Budinger sweeps nicely and he's got it past Hassan Ali. Ali should have stopped it on the edge of the circle. He got plenty on it and slowed it down, but he should have done rather better than that. He had to turn and chase back, and it slipped another 4 or 5 yards or so past him, so Budinger was able to pick up a couple. He moves on to 44. Moeen in, bowls, straightish. Did that straighten a fraction, and Budinger forward rather poked it out towards short extra cover. It might just have straightened on him a fraction. Moeen steps in and bowls, just worked by Budinger off the back foot, waited for it, played it off the pitch down towards long on, who came in and fielded on the edge of the circle. Briggs 29 wickets in this competition last season, 10 already this. He's as I say, very effective. He's made himself into one of the best bowlers in this form of the game, as has Moeen. Really blows on his right hand. Is the famous beard a little bit, is the beard that feared a bit trimmed these days?
I think it does. It's a little bit tighter,
neater, doesn't it? In he goes, bowls, back goes Ben Cox, works it around the corner down towards deep backward square. Garton fields and one is taken.
Is that on the Vuvuzela someone's tooting?
Sounds a bit like one. It doesn't sound like the one that's usually, or that has occasionally in the past come out of the Uptonsteel stand. Sounds like
sad.
Shorter, doesn't it? Yeah. Moeen is in, slapped rather. He dropped it a little bit short, bounced a bit, and Budinger on the back foot, rather baseball style, slapped it out towards long off. Takes one, moves on to 46, 81 for 4. All change, right and left hand combination of course. Ben Cox the right hander. Moeen goes over the wicket and bowls. Cox is almost yorked himself, was sort of winding up, realised he was going to be too late on it and squeezed it down a sort of short backwards square and picks up 1 as a consequence. Good over though from Marine, 6 from it, and the Bears just beginning to get a little bit of control on the scoring rate as well, obviously already, as the number of wickets taken.
Yeah, it's a difficult balancing act this for Leicestershire, because that run rate's still 10.2. They've still got enough runs on the board from the power play, but the amount of wickets they've lost, with 82 for 4 the score after 8 overs, means that they can't attack with pure freedom, as Briggs bowls his second over, 5 off the first, and it'll now be 1.1 overs, 0 for 6 for him, as Cox goes back and guides him into the leg side. He will get a single for his trouble. 83 for 4, so Budinger on 46. And this is, you're absolutely right, this is a big key innings for Budinger. He's got to go on now, get his 50, but then get a daddy 50, as it were, as Briggs comes in. It's a full delivery, jammed right in at the stumps, and down goes Budinger and glances him forward of square on the leg side and gets a single for it. So we've got, as Richard said, a right hand left hand batting combination, so the field changes and Briggs goes from left arm over the wicket to left arm round the wicket to the right-handed Ben Cox, who's 6 not out off 8 deliveries. In he comes away from us. He bowls swept, and pleasantly swept, but out to deep backward square leg for a single. It's a good shot for 1. 85 for 4 is the score. A high cloud above us, it's white, a bit of blue sky around. There are fears of rain, but hopefully it will miss us as Briggs comes in. Bowls, big hit from Budinger, out into the leg side. He's going to be safe, and he's going to get 4 for it. And there is Budinger's 50. It's come off 23 deliveries. It's been a brutal display of hitting, certainly in the power play. He's been a little bit more circumspect in the following overs, but he has got to 50 and needs to push on from here, does Budinger. That's his second 50 of this T20 campaign, and really he's on very good form, as he's been the dominant force. As Briggs comes in and goes again. This one's hit high up in the air. He's going to be caught at deep mid-wicket, and that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about it throughout. Nobody has gone on and got a big total for Leicestershire in this innings. People have got to 50 but got out. 52 remains the highest score in this T20 campaign, with Budinger out for 51. And that stays as his highest total too. So it's 89 for 5, and Leicestershire actually now in a little bit of trouble, Richard.
Yeah, quite a lot of trouble, and that is so frustrating, because he'd just gotten away with one which he'd launched into the leg side, and it would have been it was perfectly catchable, but it was between the fielders. 2 balls later, tries to do it again to the long boundary, and gives Garton, you know, by the standards these guys play at, the simplest of catches. So yeah, very well played, Sol Budinger, for the 51, but Foxes really needed him to go on. Down to the all-rounders now, Travaskis at the crease.
Well, I'd suggest the fact that Travaskis is coming in tells you how Leicestershire are going to go about this, which is to play sensibly. As Briggs comes in, bowls, and forward comes Travaskis and clips him behind square on the leg side. In rushes deep backward square leg.
They rate him, Leicestershire, as a bat. He batted at 3 in the championship game against Middlesex. It didn't come off for him, and to be honest, he looked a little bit out of his depth at 3. This hopefully will suit him a little bit more. Yeah, they're with Josh, and Sam Wood can hit a long ball, but you're right, now they've got 11 overs. Can't lose too many more wickets, a couple more wickets, and this is going to really restrict, I fear, the Foxes. Marine is in round the wicket. Travaskis waits for it and just sort of square drives it out to the sweeper Garton on the offside boundary. Takes 1. Marine, of course, century against Leicestershire last season in this competition, as I recall.
You did, yeah, you are right. 59 balls, 103 he scored.
Looks around him, sees the leg side field retreating for Ben Cox. They know Cox loves a sweep. Marine bowls. He's going to try a reverse sweep. Where on earth has that gone? It came off the edge, went up in front of his face. Nobody was quite sure, including Ben Cox, where it had gone, and it dropped at his feet. Had Alex Davies seen that early, he might have flung himself out in front of Cox. there. Moeen bowls. Cox does attempt to sweep, misses it, hits him on the pad outside the line of off stump, so no appeal from Moeen or the ever enthusiastic Davies. Yeah, good buzz around the ground, but they're going to have to watch Leicestershire knock it around a little bit as Moeen is in. Cox sweeps, gets the top edge and has gotten away with it. He lobs up towards mid-wicket. Briggs runs round to field and gets his throw away, and Cox picks up a slightly fortuitous couple. Moves on to 9 off 12, 93 for 5.
You're right, I think the crowd have just sort of settled down. I think they've realised that this is what they're going to get for a while.
They're probably now looking at a maximum of 170, something like that. Moeen is in, drops a bit short. Cox pulls and pulls hard enough for the bounce to beat the fielder at deep mid-wicket. The Bears haven't, they're caught okay, except the slip first up, but they haven't their ground fielding hasn't been brilliant.
No.
Briggs sort of gestures as though it was down to the bounce of the outfield, and yes, it's bare, but again,
I wonder whether it's difficult.
That, really.
I wonder whether you lose it in that crowd as well.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. Maybe doing him a little bit of an injustice. Moeen is in. Cox again pulls. It goes out to the fielder again. He's got a bit of work to do, but he slides across to his right and does it very well and keeps Ben Cox to 1. Moeen takes his cap from umpire Lungley. We're at the halfway stage, 98 for 5. So actually, in the end, that wasn't too bad an over. 9 from it, but 98 at the halfway stage, you'd be, yeah, great, 200, but not if you've lost 5 wickets. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, funny old innings this for Leicestershire, starting off at a rollicking old rate. They've been pegged back by the Bears, and it will be Briggs to bowl, who's third over, 1 for 13 his figures, so 6.5 and over for him so far. He's bowling to the right-handed Cox, who waits, bat raised, crouches, and it's a short delivery, and back goes Cox, and his left arm spin round the wicket. And fielded by Davis, who's got a bright yellow helmet. Briggs is a tall figure, tall spinner. You often see those do well in these formats. You get a bit of spin, but it's the bounce that deceives with the variable pace. And bounce, it is Briggs, 14 on his bat, moving away from us. Bowls reverse sweep from Travaskis, and he doesn't connect. And they'll get a single. That'll be a leg by. Did that come off the back of his bat? I'm watching the umpire with interest. That came off the back of his bat. So Travaskis moves on to 3 from 3. Cox 15 off 15. 100 is up for Leicestershire. For an innings that feels in the balance right now. Briggs, fair hair, broad shouldered, and he comes, and Cox waits, and with a handy flick of the wrists, slightly flamboyant flick of the wrists, whips it out into the leg side. He picks up a single. Travaskis was right in the way of the throw in, so almost limbos down onto his knees, and the score moves on to 101 for 5. In comes Briggs, back goes Travaskis, and clips it to mid wicket where there is no run. Hassan Ali is there. And it is Briggs, 2 balls left in the 11th over. This one's tossed up, and Travaskis plays this into his own pads. And there is no run as the ball sort of squirted away into the leg side. Mid-wicket has come out and has moved to backward square, and Travaskis hits this down the ground. He's caught at long on by the fielder there, and another wicket falls. It's Sam Hain down there who catches it and throws the ball in. I wonder whether he's hurt his finger. No, he's just getting a drink. So a 5th wicket falls. Travaskis going big, trying to take advantage of that fielder coming out of the mid-wicket position. In the end, he's lost his wicket.
Good catch.
It was a good catch, diving low and forward to his right. That's 101 for 6 now, Richard. Leicestershire in trouble here. Yeah. Logan Van Beek comes to the crease.
Van Beek's been excellent in this competition with the bat, so arguably he's a better bet than Travaskis, to be quite honest. He's got a big job on here. Probably takes 8 and over from here, 7 or 8 for sure, and that would get them up to 170, 180, and that would be, feels like par.
Yeah, I think that would
but
be
no
par.
no more than that.
But I also think that would be a very, very good score considering where we are.
You reckon they'll get a bit less? We shall see.
Gleeson it is continuing, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe just sensing a chance to finish this innings off early. Gleeson is in and bowls down the leg side, not with deliveries like that he won't, but maybe that's why Davies has gone back to him now. Looks like he hasn't played for a while. Bowling like, yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a match for a while.
Looks a bit
sure he's fit,
robotic.
but just a little bit. He kind of always looks that way a bit, but he's usually metronomically accurate. Don't often see him bowling wides. Down the slope he comes and bowls. That's so bowled him. He's gone through him. Came back in and it clipped the top of the leg stump of Ben Cox, and well, Leicestershire, if they were in trouble before, they really are struggling now. Cox goes, genuinely beaten. He was on the back foot. He wasn't trying to smash it out of the ground or anything. It was a sharpish delivery. Might just have come back in a little bit, and Cox goes, bowled by Gleeson for 16 off 17 balls. They needed him to stay there. It's 102 for 7 now. Tom Scriven comes to the crease.
69 for 2 off 5. That's where Leicestershire were at one point.
Yes, indeed.
And now here we are, 102 for 7. It's completely collapsed, and now these two have got a real job to do. It was these two who gave Leicestershire a competitive total against Northamptonshire when they came in much worse circumstances than this. I think it was about 20 for 7, and they got Leicestershire up to about 120. It's a different challenge, really. They've got to get Leicestershire up to a competitive total.
You can't afford to be bowled out in T20. Gleeson is into Scriven. Oh, good bouncer, and Scriven jerks his head back out of the way. Super bouncer. Proper cricket.
It's one of those. So the bouncers are the best when you're not expecting them. Scriven was not expecting a bouncer there. Oh, that was what made it particularly nasty. Just couldn't prepare himself for it. Whoa, spat off the pitch.
Nice
didn't
hard pitch though. Shows. Welcome back, Tom Scriven. Waits with the bat raised. As Gleeson is in and bowls to him, he drives thick outside edge along the ground all the way down towards Hassan Ali on the third man boundary, forms a long barrier, gets his throw away. Scriven takes his single. 103 for 7. Wind stirring the trees behind the electronic scoreboard. There was a possibility, we were told, of a little bit of rain tonight, but at the moment we're being lucky. But with the cloud over the sun, it's just, thankfully, because it was baking hot earlier, it's just taking the edge off the temperatures. But the heat's on the Foxes at the moment. As Gleeson, that straight long run, comes charging in and bowls to Van Beek, who defends out into the offside. He's so much experience, Logan Van Beek. He knows he can't afford to take too many risks. Now he just got to, that was his first ball, but he's just got to work it around and work it around, try and get the Foxes up to 140, 150, and hope for the best from that point on. After that flying start, as you say, 48 for 2 after 4, 69 for 2 after 5, 103 for 7 after 11.4. Gleeson is in. Van Beek, not much foot movement as he plays it out off the back foot towards backward point where Briggs is fielding. No run, just the 2 runs then off the over so far. Gleeson rescuing his figures somewhat in this over.
His first one was very expensive, wasn't it? Well, 10 and 10, I guess, was it? Thereabouts. For his first
10
two.
off the first, yep. In he goes and bowls, goes past the inside edge of Logan Van Beek's bat. Outside off stump, a little bit short of a length, a good fast bowler's length, if you like. Van Beek, neither one thing nor the other, trying to force it away through the offside. Might just take, as I say, have come back a touch. Let's have a look at the replay. Not really, just missed it. Logan Van Beek remains scoreless, 103 for 7, 2 runs off the over and a wicket. And the Foxes' innings not so much being slowed as grinding to a halt.
Yeah. And Hassan Ali has come in with the intention of killing Leicestershire off. His figures are extraordinary at the moment. 4 for 11 off 2. I thought it was 3, still got 2 more to go. He's bowling to the right-handed Scriven. In he comes, he bowls a straight delivery that Scriven pushes at straight down the ground. He doesn't get a run for it. 103 for 7. That run rate's dropped to 8.5. Considering it was sort of consistently at the 13 mark 5 or 6 overs ago, that just shows you how far Leicestershire have fallen. It is a windier evening now. You can probably just sort of pick it up in our effects mic. The Leicestershire flag to my left is fluttering in the breeze, as are the trees around us, as Ali skips in, bowls, back goes Scriven and pushes at it out into the offside. He'll get a single to recover point. And that moves the score on to 104 for 7. So Scriven 2 off 4. Van Beek yet to get off the mark, having faced 3 deliveries. The Bangor Drummers are well poised over on the far side of the field, hanging out with the groundsman at the moment. There's a nice murmur around Grace Road. T20 action, Leicestershire against the Bears, as the Pakistan international Ali comes in, bouncer, and it's too good for Van Beek. He was too slow on that. It was past him before he was even through for the shot. The umpire puts his finger to his shoulder to suggest he's had his full of deliveries like that for this over. So our producer said, you can hear that, can't you? The tiles of the roof are raising above us with the wind. It's a bit of a wind trap here as Ali, long-haired, runs in, bowls, and back goes Van Beek and guides this handsomely behind square. It's well fielded on the dive by fine leg, and that moves it to 105 for 7. Van Beek off the mark, but this really has, it's an electric start. And now the most exciting thing about this innings is the weather. Scriven waits, bat raised, head height, and it's a full delivery hit over the top for 4. That was right in the slot from Ali, just too full, and that gives Leicestershire some blessed relief boundary wise. It was a torturous experience really, trying to get the ball away. The bowler's right on top of them, but that was right in the slot for Scriven to bang away for 4 runs. So that moves it on to 109 for 7.
Yeah, pretty ordinary delivery when your mid-on's up, isn't it, in this?
Hassan Ali's response is to bowl back of a length. That's the right length, and Scriven goes back and guides it into the leg side. He'll get a single for it. End of the over. And 7 off it. Van Beek 1, Scriven 7. Leicestershire's innings faltering. But they will
almost
still,
all they can do really, try and get a boundary or 2, 1 really per over and pick up a
get to 150.
1s and 2s. Yeah, it's beginning to look that way, and it's hard to believe that'll be enough, but you never quite know if Hull can pick up a wicket or 2 early. Briggs is changing ends. Hassan likewise in the field is running across from third man to mid wicket. Scriven will be on strike. Briggs, left armour, steps in and bowls, nurdled rather by Scriven, sort of in-out push, out through mid-off, down towards long-off. He takes 1, moves on to 8. 1-1 for 7. Van Beek be tempted to have a go at the spinner. Briggs thinks he might, so he fires it in. Van Beek goes back and just steers it out through the vacant point area. Coming in off the ropes, the fielder throws on the bounce to Alex Davies. Briggs bowls, Scriven goes back and he's a touch late on it. Davies's hands went into the air I too thought that was going to sneak through onto the back pad. He would have been absolutely plumb in front had he done so. Managed to work it out to long on. Takes one. Singles off each of the first 3 balls. Briggs bowls. Van Beek bunts it back through the vacant mid-on down towards long on. Takes a single. Briggs coming to the end of his spell. Just the 2 overs left to bowl. 2 deliveries left to bowl. Steps in, tosses it up a little bit, worked off his toes, it was too full really, and Van Beek managed to squeeze it out towards square leg. Takes one. 5 singles for Briggs. He'd be happy with his 2 for 21 so far. 115 for 7. 1 ball to go. Hassan comes across to short third, and Van Beek steers Briggs away through cover out towards the sweeper, so concedes a single from each of the 6 deliveries that he bowled, but he won't be too displeased with that. 2 for 22 from his 4 overs, and after 14 overs the Foxes have limped rather in recent overs to 116 for 7.
And Briggs's figures, as you say, 2 for 22 on the previous games against Leicestershire, 3 for 30 in 2024, 3 for 15 in 2023, so it's been a consistent thorn in the side of the Foxes. And what, 150, 160? Leicester will probably snap your hands off for that. These two are just edging them closer to what they hope will be a competitive total. If you're just joining us again, it's been an extraordinary innings really. Leicestershire were 59 for 2 after 5 overs. They now find themselves 116 for 7 as there's a full delivery from Mousley, who bowls his 2nd over. That's full and hits Van Beek on the pads. He's 4 not out. As the trees sway in the breeze round the outside of the ground. Mousley comes in and it's clipped aerially but safely. Square of the wicket on the leg side by Van Beek from a full delivery. Throw is into the wicket keeper and the ball spits off the surface of one of the old pitches. That's Mousley, blonde haired, comes in and bowls right arm over the wicket right into Scriven, and Scriven plays it down the ground for a single. He's 11 off 10. It's rather sedate, this is.
But it's been forced on them.
Here comes Mousley.
Oh, yeah.
That's short and it should be punished. And is he going to go for 4? Yes, it is. Behind square. It needed to go for 4, that, because it was such a poor ball. He really dragged it into the pitch, did Mousley, and it was turned around the corner from Van Beek, and he gets 4 for it. Goes underneath the covers.
Shocking delivery.
Just released a lot of pressure, that, didn't it? 1-2-2 for 7. All boundaries precious at the moment. Mousley, big hit, aimed for Van Beek. He really opened his body up and just flashed it down the ground for a single. 1-2-3 for 7. One ball left of the over. In comes Mousley, it's down the leg side. He didn't get anything on that, Scriven, but they'll get an extra for it, so 2 off that. They'll have to bowl it again. Mousley really tried to rush that through. I think that's hit the wicket keeper. It's one of those ones that's knocked him right on the fingertips. So he's on his paunches, is Alex Davis. And is now back up, putting his gloves on, but a bit of pain for the man behind the stumps. 1-2-5 for 7. 1 ball left of the 15th over. The run rate 8.4. Mousley 1.5 overs for 30. Stands tall. Van Beek, right-hander rather, looks round at the field. And in comes Mousley, drags this one in, and it's glanced down fine to Moeen Ali at short fine leg. And there's the end of the over. So is that 10 off that, Richard?
Indeed.
Wow.
With the wide and the 4.
An expensive over for once. 1-2-6 for 7. 15 overs. Scriven 11. Van Beek 11. And Leicestershire now into the twilight of their innings, but they are just hoping to edge closer and closer towards what, 160 maybe would be the dream total.
Van Beek will be on strike. 11 off 13 for the New Zealand-born Dutch international. He steps back, waits to see what field has been set. Mostly on the leg side, the fielders, as Seamer comes in, driven back past him, out towards long off, and the single is taken. Ed Barnard, formerly of Worcestershire, of course. Good all-rounder. Davies has run all the way out from behind the stumps to talk to Barnard, who's a good 10 yards or so behind the stumps at the far end. What's the cut-off time? Ah, they're okay. Should be okay anyway. 17 minutes away. Barnard sort of bustles in and bowls. Steered by Scriven, I should say, out towards extra cover. Dives to his left, makes the stop, keeps Scriven in his ground. 1-7 remains the score. Turns, starts his run just about on the edge of the circle. In he comes past umpire Lungley and bowls, and he steps across and lofted down to just short of a fine leg for a 1 bounce 4. Clever shot from Tom Scriven. It's sort of what Rehan Ahmed was trying to do, but he picked a much better ball to do it to. He didn't step across too soon. He waited for the length, and of course Barnard that little bit slower as well. Then Hassan Ali lofted nicely by Scriven. He moves on to 15. Barnard is in bowls to him. He drives it out to the sweeper on the cover boundary. Takes his single. Moves on to 16. 1-3-2 for 7. 4 overs to go after this. Could get it up to 170. 180, 175. I think if you offered them 180, they'd snatch your hands off right now, but Barnard turns, runs in, bowls, full, driven by Van Beek, again out to the sweeper, picks it up cleanly. No, says Scriven, sending Van Beek back as he turned optimistically for a second. 13 to him. Scriven on 16. Picked up a hamstring niggle in the warm-up for the championship game against Middlesex last week, so they didn't want to risk losing him, so left him out. In goes Barnard, bowls to him, slower ball, slightly short, dabbed by Scriven, down towards short third where Moeen picks it up. Scriven takes his single, keeps the strike, moves on to 17, 134 for 7, 4 overs to go, so they're just beginning to sort of drag it back towards respectability, Scriven and Van Beek, and playing pretty sensibly. You just would have liked to have seen this sort of period of play happen a bit earlier when they had a couple more wickets in hand.
They've put themselves in a straitjacket, Leicestershire, to the point where they're only allowed limited movement and limited freedom. And these two have done very, very well indeed to push them up to 134 for 7. They've got to carry on though, and they'll give themselves maybe 1 over to have a flash at it. As Gleeson will bowl from the pavilion end, the end closest to us. And he runs in away from us. And Van Beek faces, he goes back and cuts. And there's a shot at the stumps, it's tight in the end. It was square of the wicket on the offside, and they ran through for the quick single, did Scriven, and the throw came in from Mr. Stumps. Gleeson's figures 1 for 21 off 3.1 overs. As Richard was saying, the last over he had started off very expensive, but has clawed his figures back as the brown-haired, broad-shouldered Englishman, he turns. Runs away from us. Van Beek's bat at shoulder height, and he goes back and plays this nicely out into the offside. Neither front foot or back foot really. It was sort of a driven punt out towards deep cover. 1-3-6 for 7, the score. The run rate has stayed steady at about 8.3 for the past 5 overs or so at the start of the 17th. BBC Radio Leicester, live D20 action between Leicestershire and the Bears of Birmingham. As Gleeson it is, charges past us. Down the pitch comes Scriven and carves this straight at mid-off. I was expecting a little bit more excitement there, didn't get it. So that's another single added to the total. 1-3-7 for 7. Foxes travel to Trent Bridge on Sunday. They've got Nottinghamshire.
That's if they lose this, that is a must-win, really. They're struggling with knots.
So they do lose this. It'll be 1-5 loss 4. Gleeson in full, and Van Beek drags it out and drives it. There's another shot at the stumps, it misses. Van Beek gets another single. Yeah, that would be, if they lose today, which I think you'd look at the probabilities at the moment, you would say that's the most likely outcome. Played 9-1-5, lost 4. They'd be looking to win. 4 more wins from their final 7 would guarantee them a place, you'd think, in the quarterfinals. 3 would possibly get them there. Scriven, bat held high. He waits, standing tall as Gleeson comes in. That's a big hit. He's going to be caught at mid-off. It's a horrible shot. Trying to just up the ante, Scriven, and went back and cut it aerially straight into the hands of the gleeful mid-off. And that is the end of Scriven, and a partnership that has somewhat sort of steadied the deck has ended eventually with Leicestershire now still in quite a lot of trouble. 1-3-8 for 8 is the score. Scriven goes for 19.
Yeah, they put on 36 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overs, and they've sort of given themselves a chance of getting something like 155. Say Sam Wood hit some super shots, some big shots in the county championship, but these are somewhat different circumstances. Gleeson now has 2 for 24, and he's got 1 ball left to bowl. 20 of the last 3 overs. Take you to 158. You'd probably take it, wouldn't you?
Take it
with just the 2 wickets left. Tom Latham, the catcher there.
So Gleeson then sends some fielders out. He's got a deep backward square leg, a deep mid-wicket. He's about 10 metres in from the boundary. A long on to the left-handed Wood. A deep point. There's a mid-off. A third man comes up. There's a fine leg. So all the men on the leg side are out to Wood. As Gleeson comes in, Wood waits and flashes at this outside off stump. No foot movement at all for that from Wood, who played very well with the bat, didn't he, in the last game in the county championship. 60 runs over 2 innings, but from number 11.
He makes a lot of runs in Leicestershire League cricket when he plays as well. You know, he's generally recognised as a potential all-rounder, really. That wasn't a great first shot, was it? But got away with it. But a good over from Richard Gleeson.
I think he was expecting a short ball, Richard, which is why his weight was backwards and didn't really move his feet properly. So then, 17 overs are gone in this Leicestershire innings. 1-3-8 for 8 is the score. Van Beek holds the key, you'd think, 15 not out. And then Wood might be able to bludgeon a few to the boundary to get Leicestershire up towards 160, but at the moment it doesn't look like a particularly strong total for the Foxes.
Well, Hassan, who didn't take a wicket in his last over, still looking for a 5 for, which is a serious achievement in T20 cricket. Comes down the slope from the Bennett end, bowls to Logan Van Beek, who just drops it out into the offside and takes his single. Again, sensible from Van Beek. They can't afford to leave a couple of overs out there, not use them at all. 1-3-9 for 8. Van Beek 16 from 18. We know what a good hitter he can be as well, so it shows how restrained he has had to be, forced by circumstances. Hassan is going to go around the wicket to the tall young Sam Wood, 6'3", something like that, I think, 6'2", 6'3". Hassan bowls. Wood tries to whip him off his pads, thumps into the pad, trickles out towards backwards square. I'm pretty sure umpire Lungley will signal a leg by. He does. 140 for 8. 16 legitimate deliveries left. 20 off, 25 off those, 165. Something to bowl at. Just about in the game. Hassan is in, bowls. Van Beek just works it. Again, not too much foot movement, but no movement of the ball either. Just pushes it out to Latham at shortish extra cover, not quite on the edge of the circle. Moves on to 17, 141 for 8. But it is a little bit of a disappointing end to the innings, and forced upon them. There are no real fireworks. There just can't afford to be any. Or will Wood go for it? He will, and the ball slips past his off stump as he tries to hit, I think, a lofted drive. Different, as I say, circumstances to the championship game, when Middlesex brought on the spinners to finish things, and Wood managed to clump a few away. A bit different when Hassan is coming in with a skiddy white ball. In different light, comes in and bowls, and Wood has got hold of that, but he's hit it high into the air. It's going to land safe between three. Oh, I thought for a minute the mid-on running back had pulled off a truly spectacular catch. He almost got there, running all the way across from almost long gone, really, and I don't think that deserves that, really, because I thought he'd just got his hands
got there on the bounce, didn't he?
Just didn't quite. It was a good effort, and Wood picks up a couple of runs, got it off the bottom of the bat rather than the middle. Hassan is in to him again, a huge swinging mow and a miss. Hassan Ali puts his hands to his head. He will have to be content with his 4 wickets, 4 for 22 from his 4 overs, but he did a very good job for his side, worth so much more really in a way than those figures suggest, because completely put the brakes on the Leicestershire innings. 18 overs down, 143 for 8.
So with Van Beek on 17, Wood on 2. Van Beek who faces the strike for the penultimate over. Leicestershire will have in their minds that 160 would probably be the dream. 155 perhaps more realistic. We shall see with 2 wickets remaining. It's a big... There's a lot of fielders on the boundary there. You've got long off, long on, deep mid-wicket, deep backward square leg as Mousley comes in. Van Beek flashes at this, and it goes behind square on the leg side. Ali fields, launches the ball in, and again that is hit Davis on the fingers, right on the bounce it was, and he's gone tearing away, throwing his glove into the ground. That would nick the fingernails, but a single for Van Beek. 144 for 8. Left-handed Wood now faces, and Mousley's going to come round the wicket. What's he going to do here? He's going to drive it pleasantly down the ground, Wood, to a full ball, and they'll pick up a single. That was a nice shot from the young all-rounder. He's a big boy, isn't he, Wood? Yeah. Tall, 6'4" all-rounder. Plenty of heft in that. Van Beek faces and drives this down the ground. It's moving in the air, but it's fielded on the long off boundary by George Garton. Just a single again to Van Beek. 146 for 8. We've got 9 balls left in the innings. Mousley it is. Into Wood. He drags this down. It's a bounce. Is he going to get a wicket for it? No, it's going to bounce just in front of long on. Toe-ended that, did Wood. I think it was the deliberate bouncer, wasn't it? From Mousley. He's bowling spin, so it did catch Wood out. He gets away with it. 147 for 8, single for Wood. We've got 2 balls left in the over. In comes Mousley. Full delivery, outside off stump. All Van Beek can do is drive it to cover and pick up a single. Now, if Wood was to get a boundary here, that would be the perfect end to the over from a Leicestershire perspective, because Van Beek would be facing for the final over, and Wood would have got some extra runs. What will he do? Mousley, short run up, comes in, bouncer again. Wood hits this high up in the air. He's going to be caught, I think, at mid-wicket. He runs in and takes the catch. Not a particularly comfortable catch. The fielder ends up down on his knees, but Wood has to go. And there the 9th wicket falls. Wood never really looked comfortable out there, and he goes for 4, and Leicestershire are 1-4, 8 for 9 their innings, stuttering and spluttering towards a rather ugly end.
Well, Josh Holt will have hoped not to have had to bat, I would suspect, when you're number 11 in a T20, but he has an over to deal with. He won't be on strike, so he may not have to face the ball if Logan Van Beek can somehow harvest all 6 of the deliveries. But at 148, it's going to be less than 160, you would think, unless Barnard going to bowl the last over. He puts a few in the slot. In he comes and bowls to Van Beek, and he is putting one in the slot. In other words, a full toss on leg stump, knee-high full toss on leg stump. Logan Van Beek went down on one knee, said thank you very much indeed, lifted it, didn't even really have to swing the bat very much, lifted it high over long leg and into the crowd for 6. That is the perfect delivery for Leicestershire in those circumstances.
I was going to say you might as well have gift wrapped it. It was extraordinary. And that takes Leicestershire 1-5. We sort of spoke about 155, didn't we? It's probably the minimum they were going to get. They've now pretty much got there at 154.
Barnard is in. That's a better ball, a Yorker. And it's jammed back to him by Logan Van Beek. When I say better, infinitely better ball. And Van Beek examines the bottom of his bat. But that first one, I think, had a back to your eye to help that one over the boundary, especially with long leg up, or sort of short fine. Barnard turns, runs in and bowls, and I thought that was another full toss. In fact, it's been driven out to the fielder Hassan Ali, who comes running in from long off, gets his hands underneath the ball. Logan Van Beek is caught, and Leicestershire are all out with 3 balls left out there. They are all out for 154, having been 69 for 2 after 5 overs. They are 154 all out of 19.2. Disappointing may be an understatement, Joe.
Yeah, a slightly strange innings, because as you say, Richard, they were doing very well after 5 overs. It was a score that you thought, okay, they're really going to build here. Then they were 102 for 7. You've got the figures in front of you. So to then get to 154 in some ways is a positive, and yet after the first few overs, clearly not. How will they be feeling right now?
Pretty disappointed with themselves, I would think. Yeah, the key over was the 6th bowled by Hassan Ali. 69 for 2 after 5, but Rehan Ahmed, he's still young, and you sometimes forget that he is still young, but that wasn't the greatest shot he could have played. Stepped across and tried to lift him, and he's quite quick, as Hassan. You know, he's a Pakistan international bowler, and he bowled there, and Rehan stepped across and tried and sort of him over the wicket keeper that lost his goal. Louis Kimber, who'd come to find some of the form addition, was starting to look like the Kim bowled, tried to hit straight, deliver it hard, really tried to loft it straight, and was probably legged before. I don't think. That was where he needed to go on. He's going to make this big if they're going to go at 180 plus. It's the probably pass on the crease. They're going to do it defence.
We're saying it throughout the competition. Look at the stats. Less than 450 to almost in this side of the game. If you even look at them, they have had it. You go up towards where we're going to look at Northampton or Lancashire, it'll be farther than that. And more to the point, high score is 52 in his 30-20 plus. They've got 50, so he's gone for 52. That just shows you really that people can get themselves decent, can't go on and hit the game by the scruff of the neck and essentially decide the game and win the game on their own. Now Leicestershire have got away with it a little bit because they've had several players that have come in, got 30s and 40s to support the 50 that might come. And I don't want to criticise Saul Bedinja too much. Without him there wouldn't be an innings to discuss at all, but at the position he was in, with Leicestershire where they were with 4 wickets down, he needed to go on. He needed to go on and to get his 50 with a slightly dodgy shot and then to get out the following ball in the manner in which he did, I think that wasn't ideal.
155 then the target for Bears. Will bring you their innings shortly here on BBC Radio Leicester Sport. Just looking ahead to the weekend sport on Sunday, Loughborough Lightning's netballers have a shot at history. Can they beat London Pulse and achieve an historic three-peat at 3 straight British titles for the first time ever? That's the task facing Vic Burgess and her players on Sunday at the O2 Arena. A huge game for them after another brilliant season. Adam's been speaking to Burgess, asking whether, despite being back-to-back champions, they're actually underdogs against the side that topped the table this year. Wear Adam's headphones while he's not here, just so I can hear you, Dale, because for context I've not got headphones when I'm up here. I find this just very strange, this chill. You're listening to BBC Radio Leicester Sport live from the Uptonsteel County-Ground live T20 Blast action. Just by the way, if you're a City fan, of course, we'll have live coverage tomorrow of their first pre-season friendly of the summer. They take on Peterborough United at their Seagrave training ground. Owen and the team will be live from Seagrave to bring you full commentary of that one. He'll be joined by Mike Stow for that. And of course, if you are a City fan and you're planning on travelling away to games, there are plenty of changes for your diary. The fixture changes came out a little bit earlier on today. The League Cup, by the way, at Huddersfield will now be played on Wednesday the 13th. That's a 7:45 kickoff. Charlton away in the league, 12:30 kickoff on Saturday the 23rd, and then the Birmingham home game is an 8 o'clock kickoff on the Friday night. That's the 29th of August, and then into September, plenty of games being moved there as well. Oxford away, 12:30 kickoff on Saturday the 13th, and the M69 derby against Coventry at King Power Stadium, also a 12:30 start on Saturday the 20th. With the trip to West Bromwich Albion now an 8 o'clock kickoff, also a Friday night game. That's on the 26th. Season starts in 5 weeks' time, but as I just mentioned, pre-season starting tomorrow. Full match commentary of Leicester against Peterborough from Seagrave. Owen Palmer-Atkin joined by former goalkeeper coach Mike Stow, Richard Ray. We are just waiting for the Leicestershire bowlers and fielders to come out. We said they will probably be disappointed with how their innings went, and it's probably a below par score, but is it a score that can be defended, do you think?
Every score can be defended ultimately, but to do that they are going to have to take wickets. I don't think they can squeeze it, if that makes sense. Birmingham, the Bears, whatever they're called, still need to score at 8 and over. You know, I mean, by club standards, it's a formidable target, but it's hard to believe that if they don't lose wickets steadily, they're not going to do it with quite a lot to spare. I mean, that sounds fairly obvious. The Leicestershire side sort of gathered in a huddle. They're going to have to be absolutely brilliant in the field, and the bowlers are going to have to bowl out of their skins to defend it. It would be a huge statement if they do, but I would say 8 or maybe 9 times out of 10 you would back Birmingham to get this, which gives you an idea roughly of the odds against the Foxes doing it. But 1 in 10, you know, it happens sometimes.
Richard Ray and Adam Whitty, your commentary team. The target then for the Bears is 155 with you live on BBC Radio Leicester Sport, and as I say, taking you through the Birmingham innings is Richard Ray and Adam Whitty.
Thank you very much, Jack. I think Richard's spot on with those odds. It's unlikely that Leicestershire will win, but wicket's the key, and there's clearly some life in this pitch. But we saw the ability to get pace and zip from the bowlers, but we also saw in the way that Leicestershire started that there are runs in it. Our producer was sending us gloomy forecasts, and I don't wish to preempt, but we might get away with it. But there is some
It's a bit unpleasant over there to the west, and it might be slipping by up the M1. So fingers crossed.
that may decide things for us, but at the moment we've got patches of blue poking through the clouds. The floodlights are on. Leicestershire ready to defend 156. Logan van Beek with beautifully curtained hair, 87 on his back, will begin the bowling as he has throughout this T20 campaign. The two batters.
It's a very short opening partnership.
You're right.
Alex Davies and Tom Latham.
Alex Davies almost, it sort of looks like he's wearing his dad's jumper, doesn't he, really?
Oh, that was well timed.
As Van Beek runs away from us. He's bowling for the pavilion end, right arm over the wicket. In he comes and bowls. Davies guides him into the leg side and finds the gap. Actually, that's going to put Kimber under a lot of pressure. It's racing towards the boundary arm. Kimber, brilliant effort. Ends up dragging it over the rope. He sort of pushed it back into his own body and then brought it over the rope. Fantastic chase, but 4 off the first ball. Just a little straight from Van Beek. 156 as the target becomes 152 very quickly. 155 the target rather becomes 151 very quickly. Just strayed a little bit too straight. The Bangor drum was off. There's People making their way around the side of the pitch. They've just gone and got a pizza or a beer or something like that on this Friday evening. Here comes Van Beek past the umpire. Bowls, and this is hit high up in the air as well. I think that might be 6 down to Cow Corner, and it is. Lands just over the rope. And this is what we were speaking about, the quality of the pitch and aggressive batting paying off. And the first 2 balls have conceded 10 runs off this Van Beek over. Van Beek has been the highest wicket taker, but he's gone at quite a few. 9 and over in the 8 innings he's bowled in so far. And this looks like an expensive over to start off with. Davis off to a flying start. The rueful Bhangra drums fade off as Van Beek comes in. Oh, and he's hit as a beautiful leg before wicket because Alex Davis has been hit midships. And is in an immense amount of pain. The poor bloke, he got hit in the fingers about a few times while he was wicket keeping, didn't he?
I don't know how popular he is because he's such a chirpy, and I use that word slightly euphemistically, character. He's quite an aggressive cricketer, Alex Davies, and there was zero sympathy shown to him by any of the Leicestershire players when he went down as if he'd been shot.
Well, you get these circumstances. Anyone who plays club cricket will understand this. Sometimes you'll edge it into that particular area. Sometimes it'll sort of deflect off something that was straight in there. No stopping it, as Van Beek has got a beautiful nick off that. It's a lovely delivery, but he's edged it for 4, has Davis. He ended up sort of withdrawing his bat away, Davis, and poking at it, and he got a 4. It leaped off the top of his bat and went over the slip, so 4 more, 14 off the over. It's been an eventful 4 balls from the over so far. Leicestershire looking a bit of trouble here already. It's quite early to speak of that, but Alex Davis waits, the ex-Lancashireman. 226 runs from his 8 innings so far. It's a straight delivery. That's a much better line to Davis. He sort of hesitantly pushes at that, and it goes to Louis Kimber at mid-on. 14 for no loss, 141 to win. BBC Radio Leicester. Live T20 cricket. Adam Whitty and Richard Way within the commentary box here at Grace Road as Van Beek in green moves in and bowls, and that's driven for 4. Through covers, finds the gap. Sham Masood is there at extra cover. There's a man at cover 2 and it found the gap, and that is a horrendously expensive over first up from a Leicestershire perspective, but a very effective one from a Bears perspective. 18 off it, and in their pursuit of 155. They're 18 for no loss. They need 137 to win. They need to go at 7.2 and over if they're to do it, and that is a worrying start from a Leicester perspective. But if you're a Birmingham fan watching this, you would have loved watching that.
Number 10 for Leicestershire Fox and number 20, Joyful.
Leicester delighted to see Holt available again. Nature of the pitch is such that he could be in danger of getting of conceding boundaries as well with that extra little bit of pace. His 2 men out are at 3rd man and square leg. In he comes from the Bennett end and bowls. Latham looks to work him off the pads. There's a stifled appeal from Ben Coxon as the batsman complete the single. Umpire Longley raises his left knee to the scorers. So looks fairly chunky at the moment, Tom Latham.
Yeah.
He doesn't pick up the run. It is an extra. 19 without loss. The Foxes were 31 without loss after 2. So at the moment, if you want to do a direct comparison, there's not much in it. Hull staying over to the right-handed Davies. Foolish and clipped, waited on the back foot. Davies worked it out towards the Leicestershire skipper Louis Kimber, who's well inside the circle of mid-on.
It just looks so good in this format. I think that height and that bounce tucks people up for room, particularly a smaller gent like Davies.
Extra little bit of pace as well. Starts his run up well outside the circle, although he has shortened it slightly, or did shorten it slightly over the winter. It does look a little bit smoother through the crease as he runs in and bowls to Davies. Back foot, defensive push out square of the wicket on the offside. Van Beek has quite a bit of work to do at third man, running around to a deep backward point by the time he picks up and gets his throw away. Davies, who's quick between the wickets, has completed a second run, 21 without loss after 9 deliveries. Crowd trying to get involved, a few chants going on.
Leicestershire need everything they can get, I think.
They do. Hull in again to Davies, bowls. Davies is almost yorked, digs it out to mid-wicket. Little bit of swing as well in, super delivery. But Davies managed to keep it out. It's pretty much all you can hope to do with a delivery like that early on. But he did it. He remains on 20 off 9 balls. Latham yet to score, just faced the one delivery. Got Rishi Patel in at sort of second slip, really trying to cover first and second. The men out, Scriven at square leg and Van Beek at third man. Rope in quite a long way as Hull is in and bowls to Davies again, almost gets the Yorker through. He's got his hands on his head. Davies, having dug it out and clipped it out to Sam Wood, actually it is out on the square leg boundary. He passes Hull very close. Hull had his hands in the air and the difference in height was almost laughable really between the two of them. Hull 6'7", Davies maybe about 5'5", 5'6", for generous. 22 without loss. Good over so far from Hull, just the 4 singles conceded from it. Runs in and bowls over the wicket to Latham, works him nicely out towards mid-wicket. Looping across there is Kimber, slides, picks up, gets his throw away and keeps Latham to 1, 23 without loss after 2. As I say, in comparison terms, Leicestershire are still ahead, but it started to go wrong quite quickly after the second over. 23 without loss, the Bears.
So 132 needed to win off 18 overs. And you can see, you're talking about his action there, I was just looking up the quote from Brendan McCullum about Josh Hull. Rough diamonds with incredibly high ceilings, and you can see that in the way that he bowls, can't you? He's still a bit of a rough diamond, but he has got a lovely action.
It's a bit, smoother than it was. The work he's done over the winter looks as though it has helped him. It doesn't look to have lost any pace as a consequence.
Sam Wood is going to bowl from the pavilion end. His first delivery is outside off stump. It's cut and caught at cover. It held just back a little bit in the pitch, that, and Latham hit it straight at Scriven above his head, took it, and there's the breakthrough. It was a bit of a loosener from Wood, I'd suggest. Wide, short, outside the off stump, but it has got the wicket. Latham has to depart for 1, and there's the Leicestershire early wicket that they wanted.
Yeah, gift really. It was out there to be hit, wasn't it? Field up. Wide, a little bit short. Latham should have creamed that away. He just didn't get it high enough or wide enough. It was travelling, but a nice catch by Scriven, two-handed, almost in front of his face. And that's a real bonus for the Foxes.
I've seen a few wickets like that. Possible suggestion the ball's just stuck in the pitch a tiny bit. Latham was through that too quickly. Saw Masood get through his shot too quickly. 23 for 1, the score. Birmingham in pursuit of 155. And that's a big wicket. And the new man in is Dan Mousley. Good with the ball. The Warwickshire Academy product now has a job to do with the bat. 1-3-2 to win. And Wood, blonde-haired, elbows jutting out with a long run-up. As he moves away from us now, he's up to the wicket, he bowls, but for back foot and gets 4 off his first delivery. If you've got that field with all the men up on the offside in the ring, you can't bowl short outside off stump. He got away with it off the first delivery and got a wicket for it, but it was a better shot.
The same ball, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But Mousley, the taller man, sort of got on top of the bounce, and yeah, that's what Latham should have done. He got a bit too excited, I think.
So 128 to win. Leicestershire don't have a lot of runs to play with. They've got to get wickets.
A couple of
Oh yes, there's a lot of
inflatable bananas in the crowd.
One of them's been thrown onto the pitch there. Let's bounce back in. It's Wood. Up to the wicket now. Past the umpire. Bowls down the pitch. Comes Mousley and edges it. He's going to get 4. Very thin outside edge as he came charging down the track to Wood. I think gave him a little bit of a look there. Did the young all-rounder. Got away with that, did Mousley. And 4 runs. Again, that's 8 off 2 deliveries, and they're looking to attack Wood, I think, put the young man under a bit of pressure. 31 for 1, 124 to win. Outfield looking a little parched. It's been very, very dry around our part of the world. As Wood comes in, bowls. It's a slower delivery and well bowled. Mousley goes back and prods at it. And it's fielded by Shan Masood, who's at mid-wicket. The 2 men out are third man, and it's a sort of a square deep mid-wicket out there. Not quite cow corner. Wood it is, 6'4", 19 years old. Runs in to bowl the penultimate ball of this, the 3rd over. In he comes down the pitch. He comes in a beautiful delivery, and it's missed the stumps by a whisker. Mousley's body blocks. It blocked me. I was wondering whether he bowled in there. I'm just going to watch the replay.
It didn't get
off
off at all. It almost squatted.
I missed by quite some distance in the end. It's the angle that we're at commentating from. So a very cleverly bowled slow ball, but as you say, it just died completely in the pitch.
That was remarkable.
Final ball of the over, 1-2-4 to win. In he comes, and that's a straight delivery from Wood. Masood throws at the stumps. He had 1 to aim at. Davis was dawdling at the non-striker's end. He missed, did Masood, and that's the end of the over. So 8 off it, and the Bears need 124 to win off 17 overs. Mousley 8, Davis 21.
That was a remarkable over, really.
It's very eventful.
A ball that kept very, very low. Just stopped a little bit on him as well. Just wonder whether, 175 might have been a defendable score, really, having seen that over. Hull is going to continue from the Bennett end. Down the slope he comes and bowls outside off stump, nicely steered off the back foot by Alex Davies, down towards third man. Logan Van Beek does a very good job down there, tumbling away to his right, picks himself up, gets his throw away, keeps Davies to a single, moves on to 22 off 11, brings Mousley down to face for the first time. And we've got a fair idea what he's going to do. Now he's waving at the people in the hospitality box above the black sight screen, saying, please can you close the windows. It does happen. It is relatively low, and they are looking slightly uphill. One of the windows is now closed, and that is the one that Mousley wanted closed, because Hull is coming sort of over the wicket at the left-hander. Comes in, bowls down the leg side, flick of, no, not a flick of the pads. I thought it might just have sounded like there was a little bit of a noise, but it might have been bat on pad, because the umpire's arms are immediately extended for the wide. How wide was it? Wide enough. 33 for 1. Hull turns. And he's pumping. Backing away is Mousley. Full from Hull, looking to squeeze it on to the leg stump. Scriven doesn't pick up cleanly for the first attempt down there at deep backward square. Mousley hasn't exactly convinced in this innings so far, and he didn't on that occasion. It was a sort of a bit of a windmill effort to get the ball away, thick inside edge. ran down to deep backward square, but as I say, Tom Scriven wasn't able to pick up cleanly at the first attempt, so Mousley picks up a couple.
Brilliant Yorker.
Looking for those full swinging deliveries. Shatter the stumps, in he goes and bowls down the leg side. Got that one wrong though, unfortunately. Length delivery down the leg side, palpably down the leg side. Another wide. He scrapes at the crease, as even the most honest bowlers sometimes do, that's why he bowled the wide. It was a long way down the leg side actually. Did lose a little bit of control there, young Josh. Really pleased to be bowling in anger again, as opposed to on the outfield, as he's had to do for weeks past now. Runs in and bowls. Mousley steps away, good Yorker, but well played actually. Dug out and hit very straight, and that might go all the way. It is going to go all the way. Didn't look like he got very much of it, but he got enough of it, and so fast is the outfield that Rehan Ahmed chasing back from very straight mid-off. Looked like he was favourite to get there, but he is actually quite quick over the ground, is Rehan, and even he couldn't chase it down.
It's a very good shot. I thought it was good cricket all round. As you said, it's a good Yorker again. He really does get it right up in the block hole, right on the toes. But Mousley, to be able to dig that out and sort of play a shot of any form, it was pretty impressive.
40 for 1. Hull in again. Mousley makes room. It's a full toss and it's hit over Ahmed. 1, 2, 3 bounces, 4, 4. So Hull maybe a little bit distracted by Mousley's movement at the crease, but 3 times in a row now he's backed away, made room for himself. Hull bowled straight and very full, i.e. a full toss, and Mousley helped himself really, smacked it over Ahmed's head and picks up another 4. He moves on to 18. It's been not the most, as I say, convincing of innings, but it's doing damage. 18 off 8, yeah.
And that run rate is under 7 already.
Rate required as Hull is in. Bowls. Mousley holds his ground this time and drives out into the offside. Travaskis feels nicely on the edge of the circle, and from his knees throws at the stumps at the non-striker's end. Mousley had to hurry up. Got there just about, I would imagine. There was no greater excitement from the Leicestershire bowlers as the ball just missed the stumps. Mousley on to 19, 45 for 1. This over isn't finished yet. 2 wides in it, so 1 legitimate delivery left to bowl for Josh Hull. Staying over to the right-handed Davies, who opens his stand, or stance, and then stands up tall as Hull is in. Bowls to him, digs it out, again looking for the full-in swinging Yorker, and squeeze it out towards Wood at deep square, and takes 1 end of the over. A good one as far as the Bears are concerned. 15 runs from the over, and well, the score's not far off being level in comparison terms, but as I say, it went quickly downhill from the Foxes soon after the 5th over.
They're going along at a rollicking old rate. 11.5 and over the Bears. They need 109 to win off 16 overs in pursuit of 155. Davis 23, Mousley 19. It's beginning to just get a little bit greyer. Sky almost split in half in front of us. To our left, blue sky, high white clouds, and then there is what's the word, unpleasant grey overhead to our right hand side. The clouds still quite high, but we'll see if they make an impact. Van Beek with his second over. The first one went for 18, and the first delivery is driven to cover, and they'll scamper through for a single. 108 to win, 47 for 1.
Yeah, they're well ahead in Duckworth Lewis. They might have half an eye on that with that dark cloud around, but.
And after this over, we would have had a game that Duckworth Lewis can finish, if that makes sense. 5 overs worth means that it can be seen as that Duckworth Lewis and the run rate can be judged. So the left-handed Mousley waits for Van Beek. ...170 runs from 6 innings from Mousley. And we've just got a bit of a delay, but now Van Beek is ready. Sort of skips to start his run up and now bounds in. He's up to the wicket and flash outside off stump from Mousley. It has been a strange old innings. It's been quite sort of agricultural but effective. 19 off 10. That's Rehan Ahmed, one of the few without a cap. Doesn't play in a cap, Ahmed. Passes it to Van Beek. He turns, looks very athletic, does Van Beek. 87 on his back. He's running away from us from the pavilion end. Outside off stump, driven. That's going to go to Ahmed, and again they'll rush through for a single. Cloth that somewhat. You might be able to hear just on our effects microphone again that wind picking up. We've got, what is that above us? It's not poly,
Some sort of polystyrene.
polystyrene tiles above us, and they are shifting.
They're not heavy enough to stay in place when the wind gets up, unless you shut the windows.
Van Beek. Past the umpire now, bowls. Davis has edged that, has he? Yes, the umpire's given him. Great bouncer from Van Beek, and to a short man like Davis, it immediately caused him plenty of troubles. He tried to pull it round the corner, but ended up gloving it or getting the faintest of edges through to Ben Cox. There's the second wicket. Leicestershire desperately needed it too. 48 for 2 is the score, 107 needed for the Bears.
Yeah. Keeping themselves in the game. Foxes needed to pick up wickets in the power play. The difficulty is the Bears know that wickets hold the key to the game, and they can surely, you would think, judge the way they play accordingly. Yes, the power play is important, but from the batting point of view, to get as many runs as you can while the field's in, but they can still work it around during the power play as well. They can afford to work it around during what's left of the power play. Davies, I suppose, instinctively went for the hook, faint edge. Umpire Adnan raised his finger straight away.
So Hayne, the next man in. Hayne is a brilliant batter.
So,
Top of the charts pretty much for a lot of the Bears or Warwickshire's run scoring charts.
had he not gone for the hook, it would have probably been signalled wide. It was just down the leg side, actually, but he was a little bit unlucky, really.
65 for Hayne last time, and these teams met at Grace Road 2 years ago. He waits as Van Beek is in. It's a straight delivery, and Hayden plays it properly, coming forward to it and defending it. The crowd is up a little bit at Grace Road. 234 runs for Hayden. This T20 blast, 150. But then he's got, he basically earned Warwickshire 2 draws in a row in the intermittent period as Van Beek is in. Hayne glances it away square of the wicket on the leg side. He'll pick up a single to deep square leg. 61 to take them to a draw against Somerset, and 53 against Sussex to do the same. He's got 670 runs. Very good batsman. End of the over. 49 for 2 is the score at the end of the 5th. So just 3 runs off that, Richard, in the end, and a wicket.
Just 3 runs, yep. And
very effective stuff from Van Beek. And
20 runs, I should say, behind where Leicestershire were at this stage. But end of the 5th was something of the high point of the innings. Can the Foxes keep taking wickets? Change in bowling. Josh Hull, after 2 overs, is taken off, and Sam Wood is going to bowl the last over of the power play from the Bennett end. He's going to be bowling to Sam Hayne. In he comes, bowls, Yorker length, dug out by Hayne, pushed it past mid-wicket. Shan Masood couldn't get across to cut it off. Louis Kimber picks up at mid-on. The single brings up the Bears 50. So they're almost a third of the way there already. 105 left to get at 7.1 runs per over with 8 wickets in hand. The left-handed Mousley, 20 off 11. has yet to convince, but Wood is in, bowls to him, worked off the front foot down towards mid-on. Wood tries to field it in his follow-through, can't get across, and Kimber has to field. Coming in from mid-on, Mousley takes his single, moves on to 21.
Interesting, we haven't seen Scriven yet.
He can, yeah, we've seen him go around the park a little bit in the power plays, so, but he is probably one of the likeliest bowlers to swing the white ball, if anyone ever does swing it. It's in the first couple of overs. Hull got his job. Wood is in, bowls, and we ramped very cleverly. Oh, just short, but that was a really clever shot by Sam Hain. He stepped right across. It wasn't a too bad a delivery from Sam Wood, outside off stump length, and falling away to his right, Rishabh Pant style, and rolling as he played it. Sam Hain lofted it down to fine leg, and it was probably about 6 inches short of being a 6.
It's an extraordinary shot, wasn't it? I thought really good cricket. Wood followed him to make it as difficult as possible, but he reacted stupendously.
Wood is in again, forward goes Hain, just blocking it carefully out towards mid-off. Wood gets a left hand to it in his follow through, and the two batsmen decide it would be a foolhardy risk to try and complete the single, and so it would have been. 55 for 2 remains the score, 2 balls to go in the power play. Ben Cox giving instructions out there, the wicket keeper. So important. Tells the man at backward point to go square to point for Sam Hain, who's on 6 off 5 as Wood is in, bowls to him. He's advancing down the wicket. Wood pulls his length back, it dies underneath the bat. Hain rather wafts at it and has to quickly retreat into his ground. Rather ugly attempt to smear it away from Sam Hain, doesn't come off. Scriven is doing a little dance there at point now, so we can assume that he's going to be on shortly. Swinging his shoulders. Its temperature's dropped markedly under this cloud.
And you're saying Ahmed is unlikely to bowl? Or
Didn't see him bowl at all in the warm-up, and obviously it's been a side problem. I haven't seen him throw yet either. He was throwing underarm in the first of those 2 championship games. Leicestershire drew against Glamorgan. Wood is in. Hain just steps back, makes a little bit of room, carves it away to the cover boundary for 4. Wood kind of tried to follow him, but it was length as much as anything. A little bit short of a length. Hain saw it all the way, carved it away for 4. He moves on to 10, 59 for 2, so in the end 10 off the over, 59 for 2 off the power play, compares to 671 but for 4. It was the 6th over that sort of changed Leicestershire's innings completely, and I think they'll be happy enough without the Bears. 59 for 2.
Concur. Mousley's played well enough, and Hain at the other end, such a talented batsman. It is going to be Thomas Scriven to bowl from the pavilion end. It's a windy afternoon. There was an orange balloon that is blowing across the outfield to our right hand side. 96 to win of 84 deliveries. It will be Tom Scriven, fair-haired, 88 on his back. Leicestershire all in green with a red fox on their shirt. Mousley waits left-handed as Scriven comes in. He moves across his stumps and guides him straight to backward point. Birmingham Bears in yellow helmets, a patterned blue top, but again it's somewhere between Wetherspoon's carpet, bathroom tiling.
Somebody sent me a picture of Renee from Allo Allo dressed in a female gypsy costume the other day, and it was disconcertingly like the Leicestershire kit. It really was.
Here comes Scriven in, bowls, back goes Mousley and guides it out to deep mid-wicket, and they get a single. Mousley on to 22, 95 to win into the 7th over. Tomorrow, and you can't believe I'm going to say this, the football starts again.
Who's playing?
Leicestershire against Peterborough. Leicester City. No, I just said Leicestershire. Leicester City against Peterborough. Scriven moves away from us, bowls, and on the pads, off his pads, Hayne guides it behind square on the leg side. 12:30 kick-off. We'll have live coverage from that, from Seagrave. That's managerless Leicester City take on Peterborough.
Still managerless.
Still managerless. Rumours of Danny Roll, the Sheffield Wednesday manager, or Sean Dyche, who's been the manager of 1,000 games, roughly speaking.
Helmet coming on. Cox going to stand up to Scriven. Try and keep Mousley in his crease.
Did you get my joke, Richard?
Thinking about the 1,000 games.
Roughly speaking.
Ah, sorry. That was the number that confused me.
Here comes Scriven. Forward comes Mousley and drives to Ahmed at cover. And you're right, he's not throwing, is he? And there's the underarm throw. So do join us for that. BBC Radio Leicester 12:30 tomorrow. And then we're back on with T20 action on Sunday. Leicestershire against Nottinghamshire at Trent Bridge. We'll also bring you updates of the Netball Super League final. Loughborough Lightning going for a three-peat against London Pulse at the O2. Scriven moving away from us. He's up to the wicket, bowls, and that's flashed, hooked round the corner for 4. Finds the gap perfectly. Hayne and
well, he hit that hard, didn't he? He's a powerful unit, big boy.
And it just feels a little bit easy for Birmingham Bears at the moment. They're coasting in pursuit of 155 on that one. Just when they want to turn it on, they do. And Hayne charging down the track, finding the gap. 89 to win now.
The danger is that this isn't just a defeat, it's a sort of comprehensive defeat, and it hammers the run rate even further.
Scriven, fair head, past the umpire, bowls outside off stump, and Cox, who is up to the stumps, takes it very well indeed. End of the over, 66 for 2, 89 needed to win from 13 overs for the Foxes, and Richard's absolutely right. Before the day's play, Leicestershire were in 4th in good position, but their run rate, because of an absolute hammering at Yorkshire, is minus 0.275. You compare that to Durham plus 0.7, Lancashire plus 0.9, even the Bears themselves plus 3s. It essentially acts as they're essentially on 19 points as opposed to Durham, Lancashire, etc., who are on 20 points.
But the game is far from lost yet. Liam Travaskis, the left arm spinner, can he make a difference? They need to pick up wickets. Mousley looks around him, sees men out at long on, cover, wide third, and deep backward square and mid wicket. Those are the 5 outriders. Travaskis is going to step in from over the wicket, bowl to the left-handed Mousley. It's a full toss that is clipped away out towards wideish long on. It bounces over the outfield, takes a couple of nasty little skips, but Kimber makes no mistake. Ahmed was going to go running across there to the covers, but they've decided to bring Budinger up there for the right-handed Hayne. Ahmed stays out at short-ish mid-wicket, trying to save one. Rishi Patel is also on the edge of the circle. He's at short fine. And there is a short third, Josh Hull, as round the wicket goes Travaskis and bowls. Little paddle sweep, beautifully played reverse by Hayne, and that is going to beat Hull and run down to a fine third man boundary, which he turned into a sort of fine leg because it was a little reverse paddle. But he played it cleverly, sweetly, and timed it nicely, and picks up 4. Hayne, looking far the more dangerous of these two players, is 19 off 11, 71 for 2. Rate required slips down to 6.5. Travaskis in again to Sam Hain, who can drive that, having picked up the 4 comfortably enough, and jog a single as it runs out just slightly wide of long off. Kimber comes into field. Hain on to 20, 72 for 2. 6 off the first 3 balls of the over. Travaskis is in. Down the wicket is Mosley, making something of a mess of it, using, well, took one hand off, bottom hand off the bat and tried to just sort of push it away. Didn't get anything on it, ended up more or less kicking it back towards Travaskis. Oh, very horrible. Travaskis is in. Mosley clips him away. That's rather better, more orthodox, out towards long on. All he need do, Hain having picked up the 4 really earlier in the over. 73 for 2, Mosley on to 25.
Nearly 20 ahead of Duckworth Lewis. Which tells you where they are in the game. Wickets would bring that closer.
Travaskis in from around the wicket, bowls to Hain, who looks to work it to the on side. I think it was mostly pad, but he did get a little bit of bat on it as well. No signal from the umpire, so Hain picks up 1, moves on to 21, keeps the strike. 74 for 2, 8 off the over. 1 or 2 more really than the Bears need, and this is all they need do.
Yeah, because they need 81 to win off 12 overs. And as Richard already mentioned, 6.8 and over the required run rate. They are, if they keep wickets in hand, they will coast to victory and give themselves a big boost in their pursuit of the quarter-finals and give Leicestershire a bit of a blow to theirs. They still are far from out of it.
Well, the captain's going to have a go, and the fact that he's bowling ahead of Ahmed, or Ahmed isn't going to bowl, clearly.
Yeah.
Confirms, as we suspected.
Louis Kimber to bowl from the pavilion end. The ball spin. It's going to bowl right arm round the wicket to the right-handed Hain. Oh, it's a full bunger, and it's dispatched. And in fact, he's lucky that he only concedes 1. Is that going to be a no ball? Or what's in the umpire? It's close.
It was close to being above waist high,
Yeah.
you know.
So
He's checking. It is.
it's a no ball.
Yeah. Free hit.
Well, it was. Yeah, it's right at shoulder height, so he's going to get a free hit. Is Mousley. Almost a beamer, that. That's not a great start. 77 for 2.
And a warning. You're only allowed to do it once in T20. Above waist height.
78 to win. 12 overs remaining still, and a free hit from Mousley. In he comes, bowls, and that's a decent delivery, to be fair, for a free hit. Outside off stump, Yorker length, and driven down the ground. So they, well, I wouldn't exactly say they got away with it, but they'll take. Was that
Well,
2?
it's 1 legit. Well, it's 3 off the first ball,
Three
and
off the first
then the
ball.
1. So effectively, it's 4 off 1 ball.
Kimber in to bowl to Hain. This again a low full toss. Masood will field down at long off. Throws the ball in. 79 for 2, 76 to win. Wind picks up, and that big grey crowd to our right hand side is building. So full ball from Kimber, and it's clipped off the toes of Mousley down towards deep mid wicket. They just go for a single, they play it safe. There's a small sort of the fans over on that far side are getting a bit rowdy.
Biggest T20 crowd of the season for me, this.
Yeah, I think so. And in comes Kimber past the umpire. It's hit down the ground. Chance here for Masood. No, it's over his head for 6. Got enough on it, did Hain. It was right in the slot, and I thought the fielder down here, Masood, might be in the game for a second, but it was a good foot over his head, and raced away for 6 runs. And this is expensive over already. What, we've had 7, now 13 off it. 12 off it. It's Kimber, 17 on his back, waits. We've still got 2 balls to go. Hain, 29 allowed off 16, waits as Kimber's in. Back goes Hain and plays sensibly out into the leg side, and they trundle through for a single. 87 for 2, 68 to win. Off 65. That's Kimber. And the final ball of this over comes in, tosses it up, driven. Mousley doesn't fall for the trap, drives it down the ground. It's spilt slightly by Masood, but he recovers quickly and throws it in. So an odd over that. 6, the full bunger. 88 for 2, 14 off it from Kimber. 67 needed from 11 overs to pretty much a run a ball from here on in, Richard.
Well, in terms of runs scored, the comparison is now pretty much equal. But obviously Leicester had lost 5 wickets at this stage. The Bears just the 2. How can Leicestershire win this game? Only by taking wickets. What can Kimber do to try? And it's so difficult in T20. There isn't really too much. Travaskis over the wicket to Dan Mousley, who reverse sweeps down to deep backward point and takes 1 because Tom Scriven can run in and field. Mousley on to 29, 89 for 2. Brings the impressive Hayne onto strike, 30 off 17. Now real changes to the field, still obviously the 5 outriders, but 2 behind square on the edge of the circle on the offside. Travaskis bowls, foolish, outside off stump, and Hayne can get forward, drive it out to Kimber at long off and jog the single. 2 singles off the first 2 balls. Travaskis is in, Mosley's walking down, clipping it away towards deep mid-wicket. Should be a second, he wanted a second. Hayne didn't think it was worth the risk. Good work out there by Logan Van Beek. I think they'd have got there, but Hayne aware that no point taking the chance because the rate required is down to 6s now. Travaskis bowls, Hayne just drives him out to long off and then practically walks the single. Decent over so far from Travaskis. Can he finish strong? 2 balls to go. Mousley looks around him, eyeing up that gap at point. Fired in rather by Travaskis. Again, Mousley uses his feet to clip it out to mid-wicket. This time they do take 2. Louis Kimber having had to run a long way round. Only just got there before Van Beek running the other way. He got his throw away. And that makes it 5 off the first 5 balls. Mousley on to 32. Does rather begin to feel as though the writing is on the wall for the Foxes. Travaskis in, bowls, Mosley works it again out towards mid-wicket and this time jogs the single. So 6 runs from the over, which is pretty much exactly what the Bears needed and continue to need after 10 overs. They are 95 for 2. Leicestershire after 10 overs were 98 for 5.
Writing on the wall the phrase, and you're absolutely right. Hayne is just sort of, without drama, sort of coasted to 32. Mousley's 33. He's slowed somewhat, but not in a bad way. They're just scoring at the rate they need to go at, above the rate they need to go at. They are going to run a ball, which is easy for professional cricketers at this level. Leicestershire need a miracle from here on in. They're going to have to get wickets yesterday, pretty much. Logan Van Beek, 2 overs, 1 for 21, his figures. Good bouncer to dismiss Davis, his wicket.
Born in Hong Kong, Sam Hayne, like Dermot Reeve, who was on commentary with us for the Middlesex Championship game. Brought up in Australia.
He waits, his bat raised at shoulder height, left-hander, and Mousley crunches this out to... Oh, it's misfielded and goes for 4. It's Budinger out there. It was hit hard out to cover, but the mistake was made. Just sneaked through the long barrier and goes for 4.
Most unlike Budinger.
It just bobbled, didn't it, beforehand? But you are still right, Richard. You are still right. It is unlike Budinger, and you would have expected him to take it. 99 for 2. 56 to win. Van Beek, who won't be a happy chappy, comes in. Mousley plays a slower ball out to point, and they run through for a single. There's a shy at the stumps, which is well backed up. That's the 100 up for Birmingham. Mousley 38, Hayne 32. This partnership doing a grand job of getting Birmingham closer to 155. Footlights on. Still not that worried by that cloud. It's high, isn't it? It's high grey cloud. It's dropped the temperature. It's colder.
He's been incredibly unlucky, Sam Hayne, really. Was, for a while, looked certainty to play for England, and he did play 2 ODIs, and he got 80 odd in one of them against Ireland. And just has been overlooked since, really.
Looks exactly their type of player. He's aggressive, with good technique. In he comes, Van Beek. He falls as he bowls, and Hayne doesn't get put off by it, just delicately plays it into the leg side. He'll pick up a single and move on to 33.
He makes a good living. I mean, obviously, with his one-day prowess in the various one-day, you know, he plays in the 100 and
he travelled through the franchises, yeah.
But he deserved to play more international. Or he deserved more international chances for me. Really, just hasn't had them.
Van Beek running away from us, kicks up his heels, juts out his elbows and bowls. It's a short delivery which Mousley goes back and clubs it somewhat into the ground over to mid-wicket. It's fielded by Wood out there.
Some slower balls from Logan Van Beek at the moment.
It's a strange atmosphere at Grace Road because everything sort of feels inevitable at the moment. But the Bears not exactly exciting by the way they're playing. That's not a criticism, because they're doing exactly what they should be doing. Slowly edging towards the target, not losing wickets, not putting themselves under pressure. Back of a length ball from Van Beek is guided round the corner to Rahan Ahmed at deep backward square leg, and another single. 52. And we're now under a run of ball required for the Bears. Other scores, Notts are in trouble against Durham. They're chasing 232. It's a good win for Durham, who were in 3rd at the start of the day's play, so Notts look like they're going to be beaten. Van Beek comes in, penultimate ball, final ball of the over in fact, and that is a decent hook shot, square of the wicket on the leg side from Mousley. He moves on to 40. 104 for 2 is the score at the end of the 11th. 51 needed to win. 48 deliveries now. The other scores, Lancashire 68 for 1 off 9 overs, chasing Northamptonshire 177 all out. So that could be a tight game over at Wantage Road between 1st and 2nd at the start of the day's play. And Worcestershire, that looks like a great game at Headingley. Worcestershire 108 for 3, chasing down Yorkshire's 233 for 6. It's a big total from Yorkshire. Yeah, we've got the runs there. Let's have a look. Luxton and Wharton with 80s each. So those are the games in the North group. There are some games in the South group as well.
Feels a bit like a last gamble on the part of Louis Kimber and Leicestershire, because Josh Hull is being brought back from the Bennett end. Can he break the game open for the Foxes? They've got to break this partnership now, really. In goes Hull and bowls, a little bit short on off stump. Mosley up on his toes, guiding it towards backward point. There is a backward point. Sam Wood is there on the edge of the circle, so no run. Mousley walks away, a long way actually, not just a short leg. He almost walked a square leg before walking back. He's got time to do that because of the length of the Hull run. Came together when the score was on 48, these two, so a 50 partnership as Hull is in. Good length ball on off stump, just dropped out into the offside by Dan Mousley, and both batsmen go straight away. Alvaro Vasquez comes in quickly, threatens to underarm the ball at the stumps. Didn't bother doing so because Hayne had already made his ground. 105 for 2. Hayne 34 off 21, Mousley 41 off 31. Hayne looks around him, sees the leg side completely unoccupied by close fielders with the exception of Kimber, who is at mid on the edge of the circle. Everybody else out on the boundary as Hull bowls short, pulled down too fine leg. Rishi Patel makes the stop. In the end, had to make the long barrier. As I say, it is not the smoothest of outfields at the moment. Poor ground staff, almost impossible without a massive sprinkler system, which Leicestershire do not possess. Desperate for a drop of rain on the outfield. 106 for 2. It's the 2 singles from Hull's first 3 deliveries. Down the slope he comes, bowls to Mousley outside off stump. It's a slower ball, but it's too wide. Mousley tried to drive it away and missed, but bounced twice before reaching Ben Cox, and it was too wide outside off stump, so Hull adds to his wide collection, so to speak, this time. One outside off stump, trying something, Josh Holt, and not much to lose really, the Foxes now. They might as well try something a little bit crazy. It might be slapped away, you never know. It might just pick up a wicket as well, because that's what they need. Just 48 to win for the Bears now. Hull is in short, pulled 4. Well, sat up very nicely for Dan Mousley, and with mid-wicket up on the edge of the circle, Logan Van Beek, it cleared him by 3 or 4 feet and ran away to the mid-wicket boundary. Mousley moves on to 45, and the Bears at the moment, I'm afraid, are winning this horribly easily.
Yeah.
1-1-1 for 2. 5.3 the rate required. 44 off 8.2 overs with 8 wickets in hand.
It's been expertly played by this pair in particular.
Hull in bowls outside off stump, tries to carve it away. Mousley hits it down into the ground and it bounces quite slowly out into the offside. Travaskis runs across from extra cover towards cover to field. Mousley takes his single, moves on to 46. Crowd sticking with it, but there's the hum, the chat, the buzz is slightly disappointed now, isn't it? You sense the inevitability.
It's been so difficult as well. It hasn't really felt, bar the wickets early on, it hasn't really felt like a competitive match. It's not been it's been an easy chase for them so far.
Hull is in. Hayne makes a little bit of room for himself. Hull tries to follow him, does, bangs it in a little bit short, and Hayne just turns it off his hip down towards short fine leg. Rishi Patel runs into field and 1 is taken. Keeps the strike then, Sam Hayne. He moves on to 36, 113 for 2, so 9 runs off the over. The only important figure as far as Leicester are concerned, though, is the fact that they weren't able to pick up a wicket again. 113 for 2 of 12 overs.
You're looking at the disparity between the Duckworth-Lewis, which is at 84, so they're nearly 30 ahead of the Duckworth-Lewis target, 42.
Well, Leicestershire 103 for 7 at this stage.
48. Tom Scriven to come back. 7 off his first over. Hayne 36, Mousley 46. Target 155, 113 for 2. Here comes Scriven, bowls. Across comes Hayne. Plays in front of his pad and plays it out to deep mid-wicket. There is a single added to the total. It's 41 from 47 now. Even the slightly rowdy bunch over on the far side have had their spirits dampened somewhat. Scriven 88 on his back, holds the ball in his right hand. He's got an angled run up because he's bowling to the left-handed Mousley, who's 46 not out. In comes Scriven, back goes Mousley, carves him away on the leg side. On the bounce, Sean Masood fields and throws in. And again, a single added. 47 to Mousley, 40 to win. So Nottinghamshire on Sunday, then it's Northants here on next Thursday, then Durham away the following Tuesday, Worcestershire in between that on Sunday. Scriven runs in now, bowls, back goes Hayne and guides it into the leg side. A single will be taken. But this is a damaging defeat. For Leicestershire, means their record is played 9, won 5, lost 4. Birmingham will have the same record now and will leapfrog Leicestershire because of their better run rate into the top 4. Also mean 4 of the last 5 that the Bears have played against Leicestershire they have won. Scriven to Mousley, 47 not out. Mousley back and plays it to mid-wicket again. An arc of the blade, he will get another single. This is all very pedestrian, isn't it?
It's professional, isn't it? They're doing a really solid job. They know what they need to get. They know they've got loads of time to do it. They know they can just work it around. And there's not an awful lot Leicestershire can do about it, I'm afraid.
They've just got no pressure on them whatsoever, have they? And by that I mean, but the game isn't putting any pressure on them. Scriven. And hit in the air, and it's on the bounce, dropped, and that's really painful for the fielder, who's in a lot of pain. Is that the game's stopped? They're signalling dead ball. I think who's that fielder down there? They went diving forward for the catch. It's Travaskis.
It's Travaskis, yeah. He got his hands almost under it and then jammed it against his fingers, I think. So
it's horrible. That
could be his bowling hand as well.
You can jab it into the ground, you can jab it on the fingernails. It's horrible when that happens. And so the game stopped for a period. 118 for 237 needed to win. It's never good when the players themselves are looking away from the injuries, getting treatment at the moment.
Could be a dislocation. Lloyd, the Leicestershire physio, is out there holding Travaskis' hand and doing some sort of manipulation, and umpire Adnan is quite interested. He's watching quite closely, but none of the Leicestershire players are, which suggests that he may be okay. It may be just clicking something back into place.
Well, we gave you ouch indeed. He's up. I'll give you the scores from around the ground. Nottinghamshire are going to be defeated by Durham. It looks like 127 for 7 off 15 overs in pursuit of 232.
That makes Sunday at Trent Bridge huge now, because they have to win, and Leicestershire getting to the stage when they might nearly have to as well.
This was a strange game, wasn't it, where if they won they would have been in immense comfort, or a lot more comfort. If they'd lost, they're really under pressure. Travaskis is staying on the field but is still holding his fingers in a lot of pain. Lancashire 91 for 1, chasing 177 at Wantage Road, 88 to win from 9.2 overs. Worcestershire need 105 to win off 7 overs to chase down a mammoth 234 at Headingley against Yorkshire. Kent 111 for 4, chasing 196, 85 from 8 they need. In the South Group, Somerset 110 for 5, they need 67 from 6 overs to beat Glamorgan, and then Essex 54 for 2. Scriven comes in, and that's flashed away by Mouse on the leg side. He moves 1 away from a 50. Kimber Fields on the floor down at long on, and that's the end of the over.
6 off it.
Good figures for Scriven, he'll take them, but he's, in terms of his average, 2 overs for 13. 118 for 2, 37 needed to win just to finish off the scores. Essex need 130 to win from 13 overs to beat Gloucestershire. And as we say, that does make it massive. Notts in 6th at the moment, the next opponents for Leicestershire. They'll stay on 16. It looks like Leicestershire will be on 20. Bears will leapfrog them and go to 20 themselves, with what appears to be a certain victory. 36 off 30. Well, no, it's more than 30, isn't it? More than 30 deliveries.
Yeah.
42.
5 and over, which is nothing really in this competition in the Vitality Blast. Sam Wood back on for the Foxes from the Bennett end. Bowls a little bit short, pulled around the corner by Dan Mousley for the single that brings up his 50. Well, he's never looked in complete control, certainly not for the first 20 deliveries. That sounds a bit unfair, but it was a little bit streaky, but he's got obviously better and better the more he's seen over the ball, the more he's faced. And his 50 has come off 37 deliveries and has set the Bears well on their way towards a victory, and keeping them in the hunt for qualification for the playoff places. In goes Wood, bounces Hayne, who just leans inside the line and is signalled the one for the over by umpire Lungley. 120 for 2. Hayne 39 off 27. He's looked the more assured of the two, but it's been a magnificent partnership for the Bears. So they came together when Alex Davies was caught behind, hooking at Logan Van Beek. Wood is in, bowls outside, very wide, although Hayne stepped across. Hayne stepped right across, I should say. Wood tried to sort of follow him a bit, but he bowled too wide and it was almost outside the cut strip. And umpire Lungley extends his arms. Have to bowl that one again, I'm afraid. You, Mr. Wood. 1-2-1 for 2. 34 needed off 40 deliveries. 8 wickets in hand. Wood in, bowls. Hayne steps across, picks him up off this straight and lofts him out to deep mid wicket for a 1 bounce. 4. Picked his spot there. Ahmed in close at a conventional mid wicket. Kimber mid on the edge of the circle. No deep mid wicket, so perfectly safe shot if he got enough of it. And I think we can say he definitely did get enough of it. Hayne on to 43, 125 for 230 to win.
Sort of woke us from our slumber then, didn't it? That's the first big hit we've had in a while.
Yeah. Wood in, bowls very full, clipped straight out to mid wicket, but he leans back and probably says something rude to himself there, Sam Hayne, his frustration being made plain because he picked out Ahmed at that conventional mid wicket position and for once isn't able to pick up a run. The rate required has slipped to 4.7 now. 30 to win off 38 deliveries. A little bit of rain in the air now.
I was just going to say there's a cloud to our right that looks a little bit nastier.
But the Bears miles ahead on DLS. We might have a delay as in goes Wood and bowls. Hayne turns into backward square and jogs the single. We might have to close our window slightly just to protect the electrics, but at the moment it's not too heavy. It's still, although there is, as Adam said, dark cloud around, there are still light patches, but quite a few in the crowd have already seen enough and beginning to head for the Curzon Road exit. Wood into the left-handed Mosley, bowls, full toss, hit, and dropped at shortish extra cover. He absolutely hit it very hard and low and diving or falling to his right. I think it's the unfortunate Travaskis, no doubt with his hand still stinging after what we suspect was a dislocated finger that was put back into place by the Leicestershire physio, and the hands will be feeling even more battered now. Well, it would have been a certain irony if the wicket had come off a full toss. It didn't. Mousley remains 50. The Bears 126 for 2 off 14. They need 29 off the remaining 6 overs.
Nottinghamshire have been defeated. Durham thrashing them with a very handy 83 off 33 from someone called Colin Ackerman. Richard, I don't know if you've heard of him.
Doing all right there is Ackers this season.
Very handy player. Van Beek to bowl the 15th over. Down the pitch comes Hayne, edges, and it races down towards the third man boundary. Is saved though by Rishi Patel, and so it's just a single. I think they're trying to pick up the pace, these two, aren't they? I think they can see that the weather might be changing a little bit.
They had twins, the Ackermans, bless them, not so very long ago.
Did they?
Yeah, which
That's
was really
lovely.
nice to hear when they came here for the T20. Had a chat to Colin.
Mentioned earlier, didn't you? Made history on this ground. 7 wickets.
7 for 18 against.
It was the Bears, of course it was. Van Beek running away from us, up to the wicket, bowls, driven down the ground to Kimber. So the total now 128 for 2. 28 to win.
I think the rain has actually, the few drops that were in the air, I think it's stopped now. Looking into the trees.
Just enough time for if you were listening to us to go in and get your washing back in.
Yeah. If you're in the city centre, I think it might be heading your way. It's
Van Beek, short, pulled around the corner to square leg. Hayne on to 46, Mousley already on to 51. And score 129 for 2, 26 needed to win. The sort of sense about this from a Leicestershire perspective, I think they'd quite like to be pulled out of the misery really by Birmingham, but these two are playing very sensibly and very professionally, getting the job done in the right way. We've still got 5.3 overs to go. Here comes Van Beek moving past the umpire, bowling a slower delivery on leg stump, and it's glided into the leg side off the pads by Mousley for 52. He moves on to 52 rather, picks up a single. Lancashire still doing very well, 109 for 1, chasing 177, so that's a big win. That draws Northamptonshire back into the mix, doesn't it? Van Beek in, slow about Sir Hayne, plays it into the ground rather sensibly behind square.
good running.
And they run 2. Found the gap between the two, didn't it? I think there's that hole they were aiming at as well out there. It's just going to be a little bit slower. The fast bowlers can tend to be when you're charging in, bowling at paces they are. 132 for 2, 23 to win. I don't know what happened to those bananas, Richard. They only made a brief appearance. The inflatable bananas. Van Beek. Oh, he's dropped the ball out of his hands. And he plays a forward defence.
We had
Hayne,
this incident,
jokingly.
didn't we? With Sol Budinger in the county championship against Glamorgan. It was immediately Sol danced down the wicket and slammed it for 4 as it trickled towards him, but it had already been signalled dead ball, because apparently the umpires told me if it goes off the cut strip it is a dead ball.
Is that true?
Apparently.
Van Beek driven by Hayne rather pleasantly, and it's well fielded out there in the deep by Wood, who runs round, picks the ball up with a moving start. And that's the end of the over, a very quiet over. Because you're right, in theory it could be a legal delivery, couldn't it? If it comes out of your hand and stays on the pitch, it was signalled a dead ball. End of the 15th over. Hayne gets his 50 with that single as well, so he's got that off 34 balls. What a professional and impressive innings that has been. 134 for 2.
Yeah, the days of batters dancing out, following a ball to square leg or something like that and whacking it to the boundary are over, it would appear, in professional cricket. The umpires told me if it goes off the cut strip, that is no longer an option. Louis Kimber's bringing himself back on. This could end quite quickly now. 21 to win off 5. Off spin from around the wicket to Mosley. Bowls, steps forward, clips him away out towards wideish, long on. Shan Masood throws on the bounce to Ben Cox, and 1 is taken. 20 to win at 4 and over, pretty much
This will do Leicestershire's run rate no good whatsoever.
It's going to take the most awful clatter of wickets now for the Bears to lose this one. They're in complete control. Kimber stays around the wicket, bowls to Hayne, who clips him out towards straightish mid-wicket. Ahmed falls to his left to make the stop, and there is for once no run.
I wonder if a team has lost in a position like this in professional cricket.
Kimber bowls, Hayne goes back and just works him away to backward square, deep backward square, takes one. It's hard to imagine against a white ball on a decent pitch, isn't it? With, I mean, there have been collapses, haven't there? You don't seem to hear about them as much, really, in these sort of circumstances. Hayne on to 51, 136 for 2, just 2 from the first 3 balls of the over. Kimber stays round the wicket. Bowls, attempted reverse sweep, does just about connect. Good work by Rishi Patel, diving to his left at short third. Makes the stop, not cleanly, but he was never going to be able to stop one anyway. Mousley on to 54, 137 for 2. It's beginning to feel a bit tortuous that you kind of know what's going to happen, but whether they're going to take it the distance or quite close to it. Driven, or attempted to be driven, Hayne there, and he's got the outside edge and it's gone fine. Well, that's a little bit unlucky for Louis Kimber. Hayne stepped back and tried to crunch it away through the offside. I suppose he did, but not exactly where he wanted to play it. Rehearses the shot, having got a faint edge, and it's squeezing it down to find third for 4. 14 to win. Kimber steps in, bowls. Hayne is down the wicket, he's got that one out towards long on, should be caught, and is caught by Liam Travaskis out there. So the partnership is finally broken. The captain tossed one up to Sam Hayne, tried to loft it over long on, picked out the fielder there. Travaskis held the catch, and a little bit of consolation for the Foxes.
Well, you say that, out comes the heavily experienced England international Moeen Ali. That's rubbing a lot of salt in the wound, isn't it? Player of immense quality to just come and finish it off. What a good innings that was by Hayne. Came in with, you wouldn't exactly say that Birmingham were under pressure, but it could have gone that way with the fall of his wicket early. And he brilliantly managed, I thought, to play sensibly, nudge and nurdle the ball around, but never did it ever feel like Leicestershire's bowlers were on top of them. Constantly changing the crease around with Mousley, constantly moving the scoreboard on. It's a perfectly executed innings.
14 off 4.
Sam Wood is going to bowl. 14 needed to win, there are 4 overs left. Don't need me to tell you that the run rate is therefore quite low. So Mousley waits, he goes back and pulls round the corner and gets off strike with a single. He moves on to 55 off 43. And leaves it, so we've got 2 left-handers, Moeen Ali, which has already been mentioned. He got 103 from 59 balls last time these teams met. It was a vital game too the last time these teams met. Leicestershire went to Edgbaston knowing a win would get them into the quarter-finals, but Birmingham at that stage were flying high. They were the dominant team in the North Group last year. They didn't get past the quarter-finals. 4 quarter-finals in a row for the Bears. They've never got to finals day in all that time. Here comes Wood, and Moeen Ali plays it into the ground. There's no run. Last victory 11 years ago for the Bears, 2014. When you consider the players they've got at their disposal, you would think it's a bit of an underachievement really for a team of that stature. Leicestershire's 6-game winning run is going to come to an end at Grace Road. A skipping start for Wood as he runs away from us. He's bowling right on over the wicket at the pavilion end and bowls a short ball which Adley goes to uppercut but misses. Oh, it's given a wide.
A little bit harsh.
I agree with you, a little bit harsh. It's quite a good bouncer, I thought. There's a slower bouncer too that outfoxed Moeen Ali, but the umpire thought that it was a wide, too high. So 1-4-2 for 3. The score remains 13 to win. Got 21 balls left. In comes Wood, and Moeen Ali goes to hoik that towards cow corner and toe ends it straight to cover, so no run. He's 0 off 2. Mousley 55 off 43. And you're right, a lot of the crowd have gone home. I think it's the threat of the weather off to our right hand side, the blustery conditions, it's quite chilly, and I think more importantly everybody's known what the result in this game is going to be for quite some time. 1-4-3 for 3 in pursuit of 155, the Bears. As Wood moves past the umpire, bowls a slower ball, and Ali edges down towards third man. Gets a single. 11 to win.
Good over so far from
Yes.
the good variations being tried.
Moeen Ali was struggling with him there, wasn't he? So Mousley, 2 shots now and they can finish this. I don't think he will go for the 2 sixes though, as Wood is in. That's a good Yorker. It's a very good over from Wood. He's going to get a dot ball for that. A Yorker outside off stump, can't hit those for a boundary, and in the end he just decides to dig it out. No run. Leicestershire still top of Division 2 in the County Championship, despite a draw and a defeat. 2 draws for Warwickshire in their County Championship matches too. They've drawn 6 of their 8. Here comes Wood. Back goes Mousley and heaves this for 4. Slower bouncer again, but this time Mousley predicted it, rocked back on his heels and whipped it away through mid-wicket for 4. And we're now into single figures.
Shows Sam Wood, because that was a really good over up to that point.
7 off it, and as you say, it was 3 off the previous 5. 7 to win, 148 for 3. That target is, well, it's been in view for a long time, but we're coming even closer. Louis Kimber to bowl the next over.
One for 32 for Sam Wood from his 4 overs. Invaluable experience for him. 1 for 21 so far for Louis Kimber. Bowls around the wicket to Moeen Ali, who steps back and is caught and bowled. Drove it straight back. Kimber reached up high to his left and takes the wicket of the former England international. So a little bit of a feather in Louis Kimber's cap there. Good wicket for the captain, but his little cluster of wickets, 2 of them probably almost certainly too little too late for the Foxes, but they're adding a certain respectability to the scoreline, and they're lessening the damage really of the size of the defeat, which could yet be crucial at the end of the season. 148 for 4 now. The Moeen goes for 1.
And the new man coming out, Ed Barnard, who probably thought he was going to be able to put his feet up. With 7 to go.
48 for 4. Still 7 needed.
Comebacks on.
It'll be a good one to win from here.
17 balls remain in the innings. Got a change in the field as Budinger trundles round behind square on the offside to cover. And Logan van Beek moves from deep cover to point.
Kimber's going to go over the wicket to Ed Barnard, who just clips him away straight through mid-on out towards long on. Travaskis picks up and underarms the ball back to Louis Kimber. He's got 2 for 22 now. Louis Kimber. Mousley remains unbeaten on 59. Just checks his guard with umpire Longley. And does and refastens the Velcro on his gloves and then takes guard. Kimber goes around the wicket. Bowls to him. Reverse sweep successfully out to deep backward point. Scriven is the fielder. Mousley takes one, moves on to 60. 150 up for the Bears. 5 to win.
Funny old game this, hasn't it, Richard?
This has never really caught fire other than those opening overs, really, with that horrible clatter of wickets that came early. Outside off stump from Kimber. Barnard tries to chop it away, chops over the top of the ball, taken just outside off stump by Cox, and there's no run. Kimber bowls, Cox goes out to pick up the ball as Barnard, all over the place with his footwork, sort of steps across, tries to push it out to square leg, doesn't get anything on it. Might have got a little bit of bat. It kind of drops at his feet and he almost trips over himself. As I say, Cox has to come out to complete the fielding. Kimber is in. Barnard steps across again. Slog sweeps, one bounce, 4 down to wide, long leg, and that means the scores are level. 154 for 4, and 2 overs remain for the Bears to score the winning run.
Just a reminder, do join us on BBC Radio Leicester tomorrow as pre-season begins for Leicester City. They face Peterborough at Seagrave. We'll have live commentary of that game. So
Seagrave, the name of the training ground. Okay, so
it's a small stadium.
Or is it as a stadium?
It's a stadium there, yeah. It's where the academy play their games. They've got, I think it's, I'm going to look down and see if Jack Rafferty's listening. I think it's about 600 people that can get into Seagrave. He doesn't know, or he's. I think it's about that. So there's a select group of fans. If you were a season ticket holder, you could apply, and then you could go. There we go then. 154 for 4. The scores are level, and Josh Hull is tasked with probably bowling the one ball that will see the Bears to victory. In he comes. He bowls, and it's a slower ball outside off stump, and. Mousley, who's 60 not out, tries to flash at it. He misses it, so we'll have another ball. Hull, none for 28 for his 3.1 overs. What's next? Who's next for Birmingham, I wonder?
They're going to miss the cut-off time as well.
Durham.
But then it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Here comes Hull. He bowls and it's driven, and there it is. There's the victory, driven through cover for 4, and the Bears have won comfortably against the Foxes, winning by 6 wickets, and they never really looked in any danger. 2 wickets fell early in their pursuit of 155, but Hayne and Mousley, who end 64 not out, put Leicestershire to the sword with a professional, diligent performance that sees the Bears back in the hunt for a top 4 place, ends Leicestershire's 6-game winning run at Grace Road, and puts their place in the quarter-finals under a little bit of jeopardy. The Bears have won by 6 wickets against Leicestershire at Grace Road, and all in all a pretty comfortable win, Richard.
Yeah, again, disappointing. Leicestershire sort of stayed involved. They didn't lose too much heart. They didn't go down to what could have been a really comprehensive defeat, actually, and at one stage looked like it was going to be. But once you lose as many wickets as they did, I mean 4 in the power play and 7 by the time we got to the end of the 12th over, it's really hard to come back. They left a few balls out there as well, 3 of them, and overall a little bit of concern. It wasn't as comprehensive a defeat as that by Middlesex in the Championship, but on the back of that Championship defeat, it just shows that just needs a little bit of work to sort of lift them again and find some more momentum. Yeah, it's such an odd game. You know, it only needs, one player could win them, and they're just a little bit of inspiration. During the game, the image of somebody going to make a really big score. 50 is a great score in T20, no question about it. Just as you need a bigger score, and somebody going to go on to 80 or something like that, and that didn't happen. Look at Mousley there. He went to 6 out more than, you know, he was then. He made sure that he got the line, and they need someone to do that, get it or take 5 wickets, perhaps, like Hassan did tonight. Maybe just a little bit of incision, but at the moment, nobody come up with that match-changing performance.
That's it, Jack. It's that phrase there, match-changing, match-winning performance. As Richard says, but also we haven't seen that the 4 wickets that Hassan got. We haven't seen that sort of the ball of Leicestershire. That's the main problem for, I think. They just don't have. What you want really is the ability person to win 3, 4, 5 games for you. Not individually, not the same person, but one individual performance of ball winning you 3, 4, 5 games over the course of the season. Leicester haven't got that. They're performing as a team, which is to their credit. But they need those individual performances, big runs, lots of wickets, a big bowling performance to get them over the line. And when your top score in the entire tournament is 52, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really hard to defend a score like that on a decent track. These big batsmen playing international bats, some of them, and with restrictions on fielding and things like that, then it is very hard to do. People not moving around too much, and which sort of game this one did for them most. They are helpful. By and large, Josh looked a touch rusty. You know, the wide in there, in a few of these quick Yorkers early, but the Bears could do with all that in the knowledge to push it around a little bit, and they, you know, a few drops didn't because they had so much in. And yes, it was a score meant that they could be played professionally, and you know, and that's. Can learn from the you can't lose sort of 7 wickets in the 12th over. All then Tom Scriven and no Bader try and push it around a little bit, not to charge. It would have been, I think about 180 looked about on that track, and it would have been a competitive score. So I think they were sort of maybe as a consequence of those wickets 25 short, and that made life fairly straightforward for the Bears.